is iRacing. Will be the talking points tonight as we are ready for a fun, competitive, and educational night of sim racing action. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Racing with Rajah STEM Invitational presented by our partners at GM Motorsports and Microsoft, and we're happy that you're with us. Drivers have been qualifying into tonight's action over the course of the last couple of days, and we will have some exciting racing coming up for you. We're also going to talk STEM education. We'll talk with Rajah himself. Some other special guests will join myself as the night goes on, but racing is at the core of tonight's programming, and alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to welcome in the guys who are going to be calling all of the on-track action when it gets down to it. That's Mr. Joe Peak and Joey Atterbury. We got two different races, heat racing and more, coming up this afternoon. So, gentlemen, I'll welcome you into the booth. Joe, it's excited to have you guys with us. A really cool event.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm super glad to see that Rajah is bringing STEM into this, because honestly, I feel like there is no other sport that honestly is perfectly adapted to all four disciplines in the STEM program as much as racing.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this one as well. I think that STEM education and, like Joe Peak said, and racing kind of go hand in hand. Between the science, technology, engineering, math, it's all involved in racing. It doesn't matter if you're a racing driver, if you're working on pit wall. STEM education is problem solving at its finest, and it's part of general education now in the curriculum. It's awesome to see it kind of join hands with the virtual world in racing with what we're doing here.
We really do get to see this sim have a vital role in education and learning and leading to opportunities in the real world. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on tonight's program, and we take a look at the GM Motorsports event program. So it's going to start here with race number 1 in Charlotte. Heat races, 15 laps apiece, will both set the grid for the inside and the outside road respectively for a 30-lap feature race. Then I'll jump back onto the broadcast. We'll talk with Rajah Caruth. We're going to talk STEM education. We're going to talk his journey from sim to reality, and we may have some special guests and some questions from all of you tuning in as well. And then we'll do it all over again as we head to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the second half of tonight's program for a 40-lap feature race. All of the racing tonight happening with the Chevrolet Silverados from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So that's an outline of what's coming up next. Gentlemen, I will hand things off to you, and I'll catch you at halftime, per se, when Charlotte's all done.
Thank you very much, Evan. Yeah, we're really looking forward to this, and definitely couldn't have asked for a better place, Joey, as the home of NASCAR to kick this off.
Yeah, let's take a look at the iRacing track analysis. The first track that we're going to be racing on here is Charlotte Motor Speedway, located in Concord, North Carolina. Your standard 1.5-mile quad oval, 24 degrees in the corners in terms of the bankings, slightly banked on the straightaways with 5 degrees, and it's been open for a while back in 1960. And you see Rajah's best finish here. Back in 2022 in the ARCA series, he actually placed third, so this is going to be a fun one to kick things off. We've got those pair of heats that's going to set the grid for tonight, plus the feature, and Charlotte is always one of these fast racetracks, so you're in these Chevy Silverado trucks, drivers are going to be wheeling it here.
No doubt, and is going to be interesting as this will be heat races to start things off, and we're off on our pace laps for the first of our heats. So going through our starting order, you see Vicente Salas on the pole with James Thurston starting next to him. Then on row 2, Lars Chenoweth will be flanked by Lucas Montresor, our only driver from outside of the Americas. Casey Kerwin starts in the 5th position. Keegan Sobilo will be in 6th. Then from there you get to P7, where it is Tanner Lawrence and Kealoha Hankins. Then behind them, you've got James Bowman starting on the inside of row 5. Thomas Coonan, also racing in the NASCAR College Series, will be to his outside. Connor Bolton, racing from Canada, starting in the inside of row 6. And then on the outside, going to be Brayton Nyland. And that is going to be followed up by John Vining and Riley Roten, who are going to be starting on row 7. Then it's Keith Fonseca in row 8. He'll have Trey Lambrecht to his outside. And then finally, beyond them, it is going to be off to our other heat before we see the other drivers. Joey, this is going to be to set the inside line of the feature race, so definitely want to get a good finishing position, even though it's just the heat.
Yeah, you're right. It's, the 16 drivers out here for heat number 1, and it will be setting that inside line once we finally get to that feature race number 1 that is 30 laps in length. So this heat race number 1, 15 laps long, and it's going to be all down to getting that track position. Here is our Microsoft weather report. A beautiful day in Charlotte, 71-degree ambient air temperature, nice clear skies. You see the wind only about 9 or 10 miles an hour. The one thing to look out for is that track temperature. You see the ambient nice and cool, but that track temperature starting to ramp up a little bit, just over 100 degrees. And the warmer that track surface gets, the less grip the cars can kind of make through the corners here. So the lower we get those temperatures, the more aggressive the drivers can be.
Exactly, and it's only 15 laps, like we said, trying to get up to the front. So you can see these 2 heat races, 15 laps for them. And then the heat 1 result's going to set up our inside row in our GM Motorsports Charlotte race format. And then from there, we'll be heading off to heat 2 to find the outside row. And then 30 laps for the feature. All of these utilizing the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Chevrolet Silverado and its fixed setup. So it truly is down to just the drivers. They're going to get the 1-to-go signal to try and find their way up to the front as quickly as possible. Joey, how do you do that, especially for drivers towards the back, guys like Vining, Fonseca? How do they move forward?
Obviously, with only 15 laps out here, you need to be aggressive with your moves, but you can't just be a bowling ball and run over everybody and kick them off at the playground while you kind of stay over there with your toys. So I think, first of all, respect is number 1. You need to make the aggressive moves, but you need to be respectful. You can't go door banging into other people. And then I would say that sometimes patience. If it all unfolds in front of you, take advantage when you can.
As you can see, if you want more information on how STEM leads to speed, Racing with Rajah has a scan QR code that you can use right here on the screen. We'll definitely make sure and have that up plenty of times if you want to see. But if you're not familiar with how this works, Racing with Rajah is a virtual program for students in middle and high school, offering an immersive look into motorsports with driver Rajah Caruth. This full-day experience, supported by Microsoft, GM Motorsports, and Rajah Caruth, explores STEM concepts through racing, and students learn about physics, vehicle mechanics, and AI-driven race strategies with practical activities using Azure tools. And of course, we'll be seeing a few onboards throughout the race. One of the beauties that we have of sim racing is that webcam's very easy to plug in and show us exactly what the drivers are experiencing. As we see Keegan's setup, very nice setup there, as Sobilo's got a pretty professional looking one. But let's see if that helps them get to victory lane in this first heat. Pace car is in. Salas has control of the field. Looking for that start zone there on the left-hand side, driver's left-hand side, and there it is. Green flag is out. Oh, it looks like the 12 had a bit of a, or 21 rather, had a bit of a hurry up and go moment, but couldn't quite go anywhere with it as we go racing here at Charlotte.
An excellent start down low from Gente there in that number 11 car, but James Thurston there in that green and black number 17. He started on the outside of that front row. He actually got a great initial launch on that acceleration phase. Now he's going to take away the bottom of the racetrack, cutting off Chenoweth there into turn number 3.
So still almost too wide for the lead, but it looks like Thurston will have to slot back in. Still a little bit of a battle for third, but Kerwin now going to move himself up into that P3 as he tries the bottom line down through 1 and 2. High line for the other 3 in our top 4. Let's see who gets the better shot off the corner as we jump on board with our leader, Vicente.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job right now, just kind of setting the pace. He chose kind of the middle line in turn number 1 and 2. Sure enough, he does the same thing here in 3 and 4. So you see James Thurston that second place truck try to get some clean air on the front end of him through that 3 and 4 complex, as it looks like maybe Kunin back here with Kealoha Hankins, same thing with Keegan Sobilo, are going to go 3 wide.
This is early for this to be happening. I know it's a short race, but clearly no time wasted as the 15 of Lawrence gets a little loose off the corner. Going to continue that 3 wide in behind them, as that looks like Sabilo's trying to work his way into the gap. Down at the bottom, you can see Kealoha Hankins also fighting hard and slapping the wall on the outside. The yellow of Lawrence losing speed.
Yeah, he just got way up in the high stuff, had a huge loose moment kind of on the back half of the corner and couldn't get it collected before impacting that wall on driver's right side along the front straightaway here. So what was 3 wide kind of now fizzles back out to single file down the back straightaway. But what I noticed from that, Joe, just that couple laps of 3 wide, there's now a 1 second gap between 5th and 6th.
Thomas Kunin, who also runs in our NASCAR College Series, hailing from the University of Missouri, has a lot of pressure behind him right now. That's Keegan Sabilo, who we mentioned a little bit earlier, is going to try and ride high. As we look forward, he, although, is chasing James Bowman, running in 6th place.
Yeah, so Bowman is that car, that green car, as we see the 28 of Keegan try to make it down low on the pass on Kunin here. And from the front, it seems like the middle of the racetrack is really where you want to be. You can kind of carry that momentum, but if you keep banging off of the wall off of turn number 4, it's going to halt all that momentum. I think Keegan's going to take away what is 7th place.
Oh, and another scrape of the wall there from Kunin, so lost quite a bit of momentum on that one as we jump back up to P2. I'm not surprised, if I'm honest, Joey. It feels like this place is kind of known for that turn 4 exit.
It definitely pinches the drivers off, and you want to stand on the gas in terms of commitment to drive yourself down that front straightaway. So I think when we think about Charlotte Motor Speedway, turn 4 is always a danger area. But remember, this is heat race number 1. We're only setting the inside line of our grid here. I'm more paying attention on where these cars race. Can they go 3 wide, which we've already seen? Yes, they can. But where's the fast lane going to be? Can the passes be done down low? Can the passes be done up top? I'm looking for that information through these first couple of heats.
And precious little time to try and find that info. We're already on lap 7, heading into lap 8. Kerwin is on the charge. That's Thurston in the green 17, who's trying to hold him at bay. Chenoweth also watching from behind. So if Kerwin gets by, surely Lars is going to try and follow through the gap.
Casey going down low, and you see James there in that green and black number 17 kind of migrate to the middle of the racetrack. When he was right on the tail of our leader, he was running more of the low lane, and now actually we see our leaders kind of run down low in 3 and 4. So Joe, it actually tells me that the two ends of the racetrack, the drivers are driving a little bit differently, and we're just past halfway.
Can't miss that $1 million smile that Kerwin's always got on his face, but for now it's not helping him get past James as he drops back car length or 2. Maybe try to reset him up. Saul is still leading up at the front, and he's getting himself a handy gap of about half a second right now. So he is completely unbothered, really, to try and decide that inside second row spot is what we've got going on with these 3.
And I think these top 4 are probably going to be pretty content to ride where they are, as we're on board with Lucas here in the 06 car trying to chase down that front 4, because remember, these trucks, they do take, call it a lap to get up to speed, maybe 2 full laps to get up to speed when they're in that pack drafting. So I think when we look towards the feature and you're going to be starting on the low lane, I don't mind starting 3rd row, 4th row, as long as I'm on the inside.
Now, we mentioned Lucas on the grid. He's the only non-North American driver, and the reason that's important, it's 2 a.m. for him right now, coming from France. And Montressor actually doing pretty good for himself, running 5th right now.
He's actually closing down that gap to Chenoweth directly in front of him. That last lap from Lucas, a 30.92, and from Lars, it was a 31.09, so a couple tenths to the good, favoring that 06s. Looks like we've got another battle back here. It seems like Keegan and Thomas can't get away from each other this race.
Yeah, Keegan almost got past that time. Kunin going to try to go underneath them. He gets loose as they nearly go 3 wide. Kealoha gets his foot in the door. Question is, can he seal the deal as he gets pinched all the way down through the quad oval portion. Tries to send it in as deep as possible, and that's going to work out nicely for him. Although, can he get a 2 for 1 maybe? Shorter distance on the bottom line. Doesn't have the momentum off, but he carries the battle on.
And Keegan went fully up to that top line in 1 and 2. That was the first time that I've seen a truck run up there all by himself, and it really didn't carry the momentum down the back straightaway like he had probably hoped for. So I think that's why we're seeing the trucks run the middle line rather than the top line tonight.
Kielo almost has his pass done now. This has been a great run from him the last lap and a half. We've been joining in on this, and now he is fully into that 7th place. So Bilo been having a bit of a rough one, lost 2 positions from the start.
Yeah, it's a good little trio back here, though, and arguing for what is, call it 7th place on the racetrack. That number 30 of Hankins just did a really nice job in terms of that racecraft in order to get both of those positions. But this battle has caught my eye. Casey Kerwin has officially made the move for 2nd place, and it's going on with James Thurston right now as it looks like the 0-2. Thomas Kunin comes to a rest on the front straightaway.
So no caution, and the race will carry on with almost the white flag out here. But yeah, Kerwin managed to get by at one point. Looks like he's going to be able to do so again. Can he actually make it happen as they get the 1-to-go signal in this heat? No cautions in this, we should point out, so that's why we didn't see it fly for Thomas.
That was an excellent move from Casey Kerwin. I mean, he was 1 millimeter clear of Thurston coming up out of turn number 4, and he just slid right up the racetrack directly in front of that 17, took away 2nd place.
Chente getting ready to add to his win tally here in this special event as he's up at the front, coming around to take the victory. And there it is, coming around for the start-finish line. The 11 will win the first heat of our 2 heats today. Looks like Kerwin will claim that 2nd spot over Thurston with a very late race pass.
An excellent first heat of racing that we've seen here tonight. I think it was aggressive, minimal contact out there, and just good racing all around.
And of course, our Microsoft results sees Salas your victor, almost a full second ahead of Kerwin, Thurston in 3rd, and Chenoweth finishing P4. Montresor managed to work his way up into 5th today. Bowman in 6th, Hankins 7th, and Vining into 8th. Then it's Sobilo finishing 9th, and Bolton in 10th. With just a few more of ours to finish this one off. And it looks like that is going to be Nyland, Lawrence, Kunin, Lambrecht, and Roten who round it out for our last drivers. I don't think Riley was able to join for this race, and Lambrecht unfortunately caught up in an incident early on in this one. All right, interesting first race for us, and definitely saw some good racing. So let's check out our iRacing starting grid for our 2nd event. Oh, excuse me. We're going to be talking to Vicente first.
Yeah, Vicente, good to have you here in the commentary booth. First of all, congratulations on the heat race win.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was a super fun race. Kind of just got to figure the track out a little bit. Seemed like the high side was coming in there at the end, running the middle most of it. Bottom was in it in 3 and 4 as well. But I think it'll race super fun once we're all on the racetrack together.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask you next. Did you learn anything that you can kind of carry over into that main 30-lap feature?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as the tires wear a little bit, certain lanes are going to work better than others. I expect the bottom will come in better in 1 and 2 towards the end of the race. It wasn't really in right there. But, yeah, it'll definitely move around pretty good.
Well, we look forward to seeing you out there for the feature, and nice job on that win in pole position.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Vicente Salas driving that number 11 truck that we saw just a moment ago, taking that heat race number 1 win.
So that's going to put him on the pole once we get to that feature race. Certainly will be helpful for what is also not that long of an event. But what do you take away from that, Joey? It seemed like we had drivers that were pretty eager to make up positions, but unable to do so as easily as they wanted.
I'm going to listen exactly what Salas said in learning where the racetrack is going to be fast here tonight. And what's more important, Joe, than everything STEM tonight? That's exactly why we're here.
Exactly. Racing with Rajah is a virtual program for students in middle school and high school, and it's offering an immersive look into motorsports. And of course, with Rajah Caruth, an actual real-world driver. If you want to get involved here, you can see we've got our QR code. Just scan this, and you can find out how you can get into this. This is a full-day experience. It's supported by companies such as Microsoft and GM Motorsports, and, of course, Rajah himself. It explores STEM concepts through racing. Students learn about physics, vehicle mechanics, and AI-driven race strategies with practical activities, all using Azure tools. Fantastic stuff here that they've got going on that really will bring students into all the different avenues that racing has to offer. It's not just getting behind the wheel. There's so much more to motorsports, and I think STEM really illustrates that as we're now taking a look at our Microsoft starting grid here with the second heat getting going. Chase Schaefer going to be starting on the pole for this one. Zane Bailey going to be starting next to him. Rajah Caruth starts in third there on the inside of the second row. Graham Bolin next to him. From there, Jake Cummings will be in P5, and Noah Gill will be on the outside of that row 3. Jordy Lopez, one of our Coke Series drivers, going to be starting from 7th today. Aaron Ramon going to be in P8. Then from there, it'll be Mason Brink starting in P9, seeing the top 10 rounded out by Matt Watkins. Iago Moraes going to be your next one, hailing from Brazil, as Stephen Wilson will start next to him. Stephen's been on a hot streak this year in the NASCAR Series, so watch out for him. Noah Carpenter next on the inside of row 7 with Miles Davis on the outside. And then last driver going to be Landon Slagan. They're starting in 15th. So this will decide the outside row. Still important to get a good finishing position for our drivers. Zane Bailey going to be watching hard, as here is our GM Motorsports event program. And as you can see, we're into heat number 2, another 15-lap run. And from there, we'll go to the feature, and then we'll have a chance to actually talk with Rajah, get to see how he feels about this whole program and kind of what spurred it on, get to pick his brain. And then, of course, we're going off to Atlanta after that for even more racing at what is a new super speedway on the NASCAR schedule, Joey.
I'm really looking forward to that one. I think that whenever you talk about Atlanta Motor Speedway, it brings up some mixed feelings between everybody, but I love the new version. I think it creates some awesome racing out there, and especially the draft pack style racing around that 1.5 mile quad oval. And just to remind everybody, this heat that we are about to take the green flag on does set the outside row for our feature race. And we saw the middle of the racetrack be really, really fast in turns 1 and 2, down low really fast in turns 3 and 4. I'm curious if it's evolved at all.
And there's a lot of companies that have come together to help put this together. So a huge thank you to all of them. I mean, everything from Microsoft to STEM NOLA. You can see RCX Sports Foundation in there, just a wide variety, all invested in seeing our future made brighter by bringing students into the STEM program and helping them learn and thrive. So huge thank you to everybody here, to our sponsors and partners to help us out, put on this event, and help bring attention to what is a fantastic effort here today. So, looks like driver is going to be getting ready to go in about a lap and get on their way for heat number 2, presented by Microsoft. Everybody trying to prepare themselves. We saw it last time. Track temperature gone up a couple degrees, Joey.
Yeah, it has. Ambient stayed the same. Wind is about the same, maybe picked up just a touch, but then the track temperature up a couple degrees as well. I don't think that it's substantial enough to really affect the racing from what we saw. But remember, setting the outside lane, I think that I want to be a little bit more aggressive in this heat. I think that with these trucks in the acceleration phase, we take a look at the Microsoft weather over here. It's just get up front, get that starting grid on that outside lane, and you want to be further forward. Track position is always important, so I want to be a little bit more aggressive here in heat number 2.
And if you're wondering how they picked the drivers for this Invitational, you essentially had to qualify your way in through a hot laps competition here on iRacing. So these are all extremely fast drivers, as evidenced by the fact that we have NASCAR Series drivers racing out here this evening. So if you are amongst them, then you've definitely got some speed on the circle track side here on iRacing. No doubt they're going to give them a run for their money. Maybe find themselves a little bit of a chance to try and push for getting involved in that NASCAR series at some later date if they know they're quick enough to try and compete against these folks. Pace car is in, and now it's given over to Schaefer as he looks for that start zone. There's the green flag. Zane Bailey going to try and follow him down into turn one. Rajah with a very good start in his 71 machine. Going to get right up on that bumper, Joey, as they plunge down into one.
That's the huge difference we saw between Heat Race 1 and Heat Race 2. The start from that bottom lane and the experience is showing from Rajah Caruth in that number 71, that HendrickCars.com machine. He was able to push Chase Schaefer to that green flag, and now he firmly secures the bottom of the racetrack. In fact, he's going to be looking for the lead off of 4.
Great run down on the bottom side here by Rajah Caruth. He'll lead lap 1 of this race, but we're still side by side coming down into turn 1 for lap 2. Let's see if Schaefer can pinch him to the bottom. No, Rajah's got the speed.
Yeah, and look at him. He is just painted all the way down on that apron, had those left side tires right where that apron meets the banking. But yeah, the 05 starting to fight back on the high side. We saw the bottom side of 3 and 4 really be the fast way around in heat number 1. Rajah has proven that again, but now comes the other end of the racetrack where he's going to have the tough time.
We step a little bit back behind them. Steven Wilson, I said you got to watch out for him because he has been hot this year. He runs in 7th, but don't count him out. Almost 3 wide up in front of him, though. Whoa, as he has to dive down low to get around a car moving up top.
I think that was Jordy Lopez that we're now riding on board with, who is on the outside of the racetrack. You see Zane Bailey directly in front of him. There goes the 07 of Jake Cummings, and what we saw, Steven Wilson picking 3 in that corner right there. What a move from that 77.
I told you got to watch out for him, and he's still looking forward, although challenging around his outside. Jake Cummings still making sure that he has to fight for that 4th position. He'll get the shot off the turn, is up at the front. You can see Schaefer's able to switch sides. Caruth now on the top, and Schaefer unwilling to budge from that P1.
This has just been amazing. 5 laps here of side-by-side from Caruth and Schaefer as they cross the start-finish line one more time. And everyone behind them is kind of enjoying all of this draft, right? It's just kind of sucking them right on up to the front pack.
Landon Slaggin in here and running a little bit farther back, 15th right now. Looks like he's going to try to move up to P14. Matt Watkins stays up high as we jump back to the front group once again. Caruth now firmly in the lead. Ooh, some of these trucks looking awful loose off of 4.
And this is a totally different dynamic than we saw in heat race number 1. Remember, we saw about 4 cars kind of stretch it out single file at the front, but I mean, I'm looking at 7, 8 cars that are all just picking their lane on the racetrack right now. We're riding on board with Mason Brinks back here in that number 29 car. Got a great view of the action. He's going to want to start to try to move his way forward.
Ooh, are we looking at 3 wide again? Just about. Jake Cummings chops off on Steven Wilson, denying him moving into that P3. Says, okay, I'm going to go up high as well. See if I can get a podium in this heat race. Rajah Caruth still leading ahead of Schaefer in front of them. Jake Cummings drifts up in front. And there's the shot off the turn by Steven Wilson. Can the former champion of the NASCAR Series get it done? Meanwhile, Schaefer almost drifting up into the side of Rajah.
Yeah, Rajah went from the top lane to the middle lane, which he is totally entitled to do, and Chase was just kind of hanging out in the middle of the racetrack. If anything, he washed up a half a lane, and they almost made some pretty big contact. Steven Wilson's going to try to force it 3 wide, potentially even 4 wide, with Jake Cummings now coming off of turn number 2. This is all stacking up on the back straightaway.
Tails wag coming off of turn 2 there for a brief moment, but everybody holds steady. Caruth on the high side. Wilson there on the right side of your screen, now running behind 3 wide for the lead. Cummings finds some room down at the very bottom. He's going to throw his hat in with them, is the number 77, pushing along Jake Cummings.
I have to chuckle to myself a little bit because I think Steven Wilson was trying to be patient, and then all of a sudden Jake Cummings just barged through and opened the door, and oh man, contact there off of turn number 2. Schaefer got up into the wall, and Rajah Caruth had nowhere to go behind him.
Jake Cummings, another driver who races in the NASCAR College Series. is clearly not intimidated. Steven Wilson almost drifts up into the side of him. Meanwhile, Chase Schaefer has found a completely different set of rivals now, as Rajah falls all the way back to 5th position. Jordi Lopez also in this group.
Yeah, Rajah's that car all the way up along the fence there in turns 1 and 2, and now he's got a huge head of steam down the back straightaway. Opts to stay in line and now choose the middle of the racetrack right here in turns 3 and 4. One thing I'm noticing about these Chevy Silverado trucks in this 1.5 mile quad oval is we're 3 wide again for what is 3rd place. You can race anywhere.
Definitely looks like it is a racy track for them today. And as you saw on the screen earlier, you too can get involved. So if you feel like you can race with these guys, you can give a go at it by getting on iRacing yourself. On board with Steven Wilson, looking backwards as Schaefer finds some speed past Lopez on the high side. But he's probably looking forward, because look at that. He is right on the tailgate of the 07, and we're coming up to lap 12 already.
He's going to be looking to the inside, but Cummings is able to shut the door, and oh my goodness, directly behind him, Chase Schaefer almost got turned in that quad oval section of the front straightaway here. Now we see the 89 of Jordi Lopez start to move his way forward. That's another big mover, up 4 positions for that 89, now finds himself in the 3rd spot.
Is this going to boil over? Because the battle is certainly getting a little hot as Steven hits the bottom once more. Cummings trying to get the shot off the corner. They'll come to the line. Lap 13 now is behind them. Schaefer just on the high side of Rajah Caruth and Graham Bolin. Caruth going to try all the way up to the safer barrier.
And I know his name is on the event, but I do think that Rajah Caruth is probably one of the fastest trucks here, especially in this heat number 2. He's just kind of found himself on the side of bad luck when they go 3 wide a lot of the time. So I don't think that the speed is necessarily representative of his 5th place in the running order right now. I think he should be kind of out there fighting for the lead, but he is being extremely respectful, making sure he doesn't go banging into anybody out there.
This is the battle for P10 on the bottom as well, as we also have a battle for 4th up on the top. And drivers carrying on to the final laps of this one, battling every inch of the way. We have been getting some great stuff in these heats. I'm looking forward to the feature when we get to there. In the meantime, it's still a fight for the lead with the white flag out, 1 to go. And Jake Cummings isn't going to let Steven Wilson have this easily.
No, I think that Wilson was finally able to secure that position because Jake got all sorts of loose off of the exit of turn number 4. And once again, really loose off of 2. Almost lose it. He's going to come back onto the racing line. He has to lift way off of the gas. He's going to hand the race to Steven Wilson.
A lot of positions lost by the 07 right at the end. Steven Wilson is undeniable in 2025. He's going to win heat number 2, presented by Microsoft here in the Rajah Caruth STEM Invitational. Fantastic run. A reminder, Steven Wilson qualified 12th, Joey.
Yeah, definitely our biggest mover, plus 11 positions to take home the win. But don't forget about Jordi Lopez either. I'm noticing him up 4 positions to get that 2nd place.
Microsoft post-race results see Steven Wilson your winner over Jordi Lopez. Nice run from him to move up the way. Chase Schaefer was P3 with Graham Bolin coming home in the 4th position. Jake Cummings finishes 5th today. Rajah Caruth in the 6th spot, followed by Zane Bailey in 7th and Noah Gill in 8th. Then it's Miles Davis, P9, and 10th will go to Matt Watkins. Moraes, Ramon, Slagan, Brinks, and Carpenter round out your field. Noah got into a little bit of trouble, it looks like, there during the race, 5 laps down in the end. So, sounds like Joey has caught up with Steven Wilson. Let's see what he thinks of that first race.
Yeah, Steven, congrats on winning heat race number 2 here.
Yeah, thanks. That was a lot of fun. This is a combo. We just ran this in the college series, actually. It was pretty fun then, too. So I got experience. I hit the wall on the Q lap. So that's why we started last. But that was a lot of fun. Racing Jordy, Jake, Raj, Chase, all those guys, Graham. So hopefully it's another fun 30 laps here in the future.
I got to ask you, it seemed like once you had caught the front pack, you were trying to be pretty patient until kind of Jake blew up in that door on the bottom side and you followed him through. Is that kind of the mentality that you had?
Yeah, I was just trying to roll the bottom around him. And then he got the wall at a 4, I think with 2 to go there, and gave him the momentum to be able to get next to him, and then they ended up clearing him. So I was just trying to take it easy, run the bottom. I think, there's a lot of lanes that are working, and the track's moving around, so that's making for a lot of fun right now.
Well, I look forward to seeing you race here in the feature, and good luck out there for those 30 laps.
Thank you.
That was Steven Wilson driving that number 77. He's going to be on the outside of the front row.
Let's take a look at a few of the highlights of these heat races. And boy, we were spoiled for choice on them, Joey. You can see between the 3-wide racing and all the drivers that were just unwilling to budge, I'd say that they've got their elbows out.
Totally different dynamic from heat race number 1 to heat race number 2. Heat race number 1 was kind of single file, and we got to see the different lanes on the racetrack in terms of the speed. What heat race number 2 showed us is that you can go 3-wide, you can go 4-wide, you can go all the way up top to the fence and be able to rip it down the back straightaway. You can go all the way down to the apron in turns 3 and 4. So just like we heard Steven Wilson say, I think that this racetrack and truck combination is going to be extremely fun to watch.
There's our GM Motorsports event program as well, showing you what's up after our 30 lap race that we've got here in just a moment. What a save that was by the 07 on the back stretch as well. But I do believe that we've got the man himself with us here tonight. I think Evan has caught up with Rajah Caruth.
Yeah, we'll take a quick word with him, Raj. The feature race is coming up, but it's a popular car track combination so far. You've got a lot of top Coke Series level talent. How'd you feel during the heat race?
Well, it's kind of the story of my sim racing career. It started off really good for the first 5 laps till the tires went away. Then that was all she wrote. So, like you said, Evan, definitely one of the more common and fun combos on the sim in terms of, I think, realism, but also just versatility in the racetrack and in the lanes, and kind of your ability to not kind of get stuck like you can at a lot of other places. So overall, pretty nice to pick this for the first one, and hopefully it was an entertaining show to start.
Feature going to be, I think, about twice as long as these heats. You talk about the tires. Do you think that everyone's going to have to take a different approach, and that might even things out a touch?
I certainly am. I mean, I went very hard in that little heat race, and it was fine for 5 to 7 laps, and then I blew off the line one time and lost kind of some track position and just started getting looser and looser. So I definitely am going to take a little bit of a different approach. You see guys like Steven, Jordy, Graham, obviously Casey, Vicente, right? Like, they're the best of the best on here, and they really know just how to run at the correct threshold for the tire's life for the whole stint of when we run. So that's kind of the benchmark there, and that's been the thing that I've not really grasped on the sim over the years through different tire models and things of that nature, and it's an art for sure. So those guys are really good, bottom line.
We're excited to see how the race goes and looking forward to catching up with you in between them. But in the meantime, appreciate the chat and good luck out there.
Definitely. Thank you.
So Raj is looking forward to it. The feature race coming up next, Joe.
Absolutely. Cars already gridded up, trucks, as Joey said. And it sees Vicente Salas starting on the pole position. Steven Wilson, winner of heat number 2, going to be outside of him. Then you've got Casey Kerwin starting in P3, Jordy Lopez flanking him, and James Thurston starting in 5th, Chase Schaefer on the outside of that 3rd row. Then it's Lars Chenoweth in 7th spot, Graham Boland to his outside in 8th, Lucas Montresor in P9, and 10th, Joey, going to be going to Jake Cummings.
Yeah, then we got James Bowman back here in 11th. Next to him is going to be Rajah Caruth. Watch that blue and white number 71 to work his way through the field there. Then we got Kealoha Hankins back here in 13th with Zane Bailey starting in 14th spot. John Vining going to be starting in 15th with Noah Gill back here in 16th. Keegan Sobilo rolling off in 17th. Miles Davis in 18th. And then in 19th, we've got David Bolton with the top 20 being rounded out by Matt Watkins.
After that, it's going to be Keith Fonseca starting 21st. Iago Moraes will begin from P22. and Brayton Nyland starts 23rd. Aaron Ramon will be on the inside or outside of that row there in 24th. Tanner Lawrence in the quarter century mark of 25th. Landon Slagan will be starting 26th today. Thomas Coonan 27th, and then Mason Brinks in 28th. Trey Lambrecht starts 29th, and then from there, it's Noah Carpenter in 30th, and Riley Rotten is going to be starting in 31st today. Alrighty, drivers already on track. And, I was thinking, Joey, that, I could tell that none of these guys are intimidated by the fact that they're up against a real NASCAR driver, but we'll get to that in a second as we're taking a look at the Microsoft weather conditions, and it's still consistent to what we saw in the first race.
Yeah, ambient 71, track temperature 102 degrees, but I think any time that track temperature is in the triple digits, the drivers, they take notice. And what I mean by the hot temperatures, you can't drive the car as aggressively. If you feel like you can go in with your hair on fire into turn one, well, you're going to have to back it off just that little bit. If you feel like you can roll on the throttle nice and early coming off of one of these corner exits, you're going to have to back it off just that little bit with those higher track temperatures.
And our GM Motorsports event program shows that we're getting ready for a 30-lap race for this one. Then we're going to talk to Rajah a little bit more after he hops out of the virtual car. And then we'll head off to Atlanta for our second race of the evening, at least second big race of the evening. And, of course, all of these races are going to be in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Chevy Silverado and in fixed setups. So drivers are all pretty even on their footing. The point I was going to make a little bit earlier is, they're up against a real-world NASCAR driver who, and honestly, race winner as well after his Vegas win back in 24. But it doesn't mean they're not fans, Joey. James Thurston says, "Rajah, I love you. Autograph my baby" in the sim chat.
I mean, that's what these guys are out here to do. It doesn't matter if you're an NASCAR driver, if you're a college series driver, or if you just made your way in through the time attacks. You want to race against the big sharks out there, and Rajah Caruth and everything that he's done. It is awesome to see this event. I mean, we got 31 Chevy Silverado trucks racing out here with STEM, and I can't wait to see how this one is going to play out. A lot more trucks on the racetrack and the possibilities of those yellow flags.
Pace car going to peel off, giving Salas the control of the field. What kind of start are we going to see out of the number 11 up against former champion Steven Wilson, along with Casey Kerwin right behind as well. Green flag is out for our feature race, and as they start to get up to speed, it's a good start from Salas as he's already single file coming down in the first turn.
I think that inside line, especially the front three rows, are going to possibly be able to even clear that number 77 out front of Steven Wilson while these trucks are in that acceleration phase. And now we're going to see that outside line start to gang up. They've got the slipstream going, and now here in 3 and 4, you want to be on that low line again.
Casey Kerwin trying to see if he can get his leg in there, but unfortunately it looks like Salas is going to lead lap 1. So the Canon Esports driver will hold it, but not for long. Big dive down to the inside by the 24, trying to see if he could take that lead away. Meanwhile, the 77 there you saw riding the high side.
Yeah, and he got the front end shut off by James Thurston, who just kind of slid directly in front of him there coming off of turn number 2. That was a savvy racecraft move to prevent that huge run down the back straightaway. But Casey Kerwin is right on that quarter panel of our leader, Salas. He's not letting go of the side draft as we ride on board with James Bowman.
It's quite busy in front of him right now. He's going to go back to single file, trying to drop to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see even busier behind him. Now, you've been seeing that QR code on the bottom right of your screen every once in a while. Let's not forget that after this race, make sure and stick around because Rajah Caruth is going to be talking to Evan Pasoko more about this program, how he brought this race together, and what it all means to him along with his career. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Salas versus Kerwin. And right now, Kerwin holds the upper hand, but not by much. He cannot shut the door.
Oh, my goodness. That was a nervous moment coming off of turn number 2. Casey thought he was clear, but Salas was definitely there saying, not clear, and had the momentum down the back straightaway. So this fight rages on. And they've kind of flip-flopped from the bottom side to the top side of the racetrack, and we've actually got our first yellow flag of the day.
See some cars spinning around in the infield of the quad. I think the 19 involved in this one. We'll try and get some more info on that as we wait for a replay. But got a few laps of racing before, unfortunately, we're slowed down for the first time this evening for the full course yellow. But it looks like most of them able to get it going. Now, the good news is they do have a spare car. They have a free repair, if you're familiar with iRacing, waiting in pit lane. So if anybody got any serious damage, they can get back into this.
And I think this is all kicking off with the 06 of Lucas Montresor back here, who we were highlighting in heat number 1, and then there was just kind of a domino effect off of turn number 4. So we're going to take a look at this replay queued up right here, and I think it might have been the 71 truck that just barely got into the left rear quarter panel coming off of turn number 4. There you see the tiny nudge, and that's a tough one. You never want to get hit in the left rear quarter coming up off of the corner. It always creates a loose condition on the truck, which is incredibly hard to correct. And there you see, I believe, is the number 22 coming piling in here afterwards. But I also got to say, it seemed like the 06 was kind of choosing the middle of the racetrack on exit. I think that Rajah was maybe hoping that he was going to track up the racetrack just a little bit.
Yeah, that was Montresor in the 06 that was the unfortunate victim there. They got bumped around, but I guess to bring real-world racing into it once more, sometimes rubbing is racing. I'm sure Lucas probably doesn't appreciate it, but it can happen, and I know that Rajah didn't mean anything malicious by it. I mean, you saw how gentle the touch was. It's not like he went up there and rammed into the back bumper or just drove into the left rear quarter panel of him. I mean, it was almost one of those effects that you got the air packed on that left rear quarter panel and just started to nudge that truck loose, and once that truck got loose coming up out of turn number 4, that was pretty much all she wrote. Sounds like we've got the horn on Casey Kerwin. Joey's going to be chatting with him from second place on the grid.
Well, Casey, how's it going out there, first off?
It's going good. Yeah, it's been fun so far. Good to be up front and having a good time.
It seems like you and Vicente have had quite a little battle here for the first handful of laps.
Yeah. We thankfully I had a good start. Was able to clear Steven, and then just with the draft have a shot at him. So had a couple crossovers on each other, and it'll be tough starting in second air on this restart. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Because you're on the outside on the restart here. Do you feel like you're definitely at a disadvantage?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I think if I time it okay, I could maybe not be too bad. But it's so easily wide open through 1 and 2 that it's just a longer distance and can lose a bit of ground. So as long as third doesn't clear me, I think it's a decent restart and go from there. But yeah, we'll see.
I think you're spot on with that. And then, of course, after this race, we're going to be having that interview with Rajah. Do you have anything that you would like to ask him?
Nothing off the top of my head that I could think of, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if he gets around me and we have some beef, maybe I'll ask him something after this race.
Sounds good, Casey. Well, good luck out there. We'll be watching you.
Thank you.
That was Casey Kerwin. He's going to be starting on the front row here, but on the outside, like we heard him say, Joe, it might be a little bit of a disadvantage for the first half of a lap.
Yeah, it's going to be James Thurston starting from P3, so I imagine he's going to be quick to try and pick up that P2 if he can move into the position. But watch out, the 77 of Stephen Wilson is in 4th back there, and we've seen how easily he can pick his way by drivers when he wants to. He's still got a lot of laps, so maybe he'll bide his time, but I don't think he'll want to have to stay in the pack any longer than is necessary. Lights are off on the pace car. We're getting ready to go racing once again here on lap 9 of this 30-lap event. Let's hope we can stay green a little bit longer, get close to the finish on this one. Because, yes, we got some more after this with Atlanta Motor Speedway, but we want to see some green racing here at Charlotte. Pace car getting ready to unleash the number 11. There it goes. Solace waiting for the restart zone. Can't go before there or else he'll get black flagged. And there it is. He goes pretty much immediately. Salas is definitely on it, and Kerwin has no answer as Thurston is underneath him already.
What a great launch from Gente out front. He was able to get clear of everybody, and that brought along James Thurston in that green and black number 17. But look out for Steven Wilson. He's that black number 77 on the bottom side of the racetrack. I see one car spinning off onto the apron there on the back straightaway, but we stay green and 2 wide for 3rd place.
Looks like that was Kunin and Moraes who wound up down on the inside of the track. But yes, we stay green. No caution from that one. They got a good jump over everybody behind 4th, although they're starting to pick them back up already.
I really like seeing this green number 17 fight for the lead out here as we get some awesome 2 wide action a little bit further back in the pack. This is James Schaefer, and now we've got some serious action on the back straightaway. The 20 almost went up and over.
You could see that that truck just picking up as the air started to get underneath and thankfully did not go tumbling. Still no caution though. We stay green flag racing as it comes around once again to lap 11 already, appropriately with car number 11 leading the way.
I was just going to make the mention about James Thurston before we had that action on the back straightaway here, is that he's typically found more in the Cup cars, in those higher level performance cars, and so he's not as familiar with this Chevy Silverado platform. Really good to see him duking it out with some of these big names up in the front.
Absolutely, and Casey Kerwin manages to dive back underneath using the cutback on James Thurston. Meanwhile, Wilson filling his mirrors. He's running up against the safer barrier. Doesn't get the run off the corner, does Kerwin. But Wilson does. He moves underneath him.
Got a nice run down that back straightaway. He will take away what is 3rd place. Just kind of clears himself over the nose, and it's actually a little bit of a gimme there from Casey Kerwin. He lifted off of the gas in 3 and 4 to allow Steven Wilson to kind of slide right there in front. And sometimes racing is about cooperation. If you've lost the spot, there's no point in trying to kind of argue amongst the two of you. You're going to lose more time, and so I think that was a heads-up move out of that 24.
This is David Bolton, who's going to try and stay out of the way as we watch also the battle for 11th a little bit farther down the order. Looks like Bolton could at least allow the leader by, although he may have scraped the wall. Hopefully he doesn't get in anybody's way coming through the quad oval. Meanwhile, 2 by 2. It is Noah's Ark there, racing for 11th place. James Bowman in and amongst that scuffle. He's got Slagan to his outside.
And I think I see the 71 of Rajah right back there. He's going to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway. Almost got blocked right there from that red number 13. And this is a little nervous because they're going to be coming up on some lapped cars here that are kind of falling their way through the pack. Still 3 wide off of turn number 4 with Caruth on the bottom.
Oh, all the way through the grass as he got a little elbow into his side coming around the front stretch. He'll hold on to it at least. He doesn't lose control of the car. This has been frantic stuff while the lead stays single file. 3 wide now for at least a lap and a half.
He has to settle back in, almost kind of banged fenders there with the number 27 car. That's Miles Davis, who he finally gets underneath, and then I think Rajah's going to kind of carry the momentum up on the top side here. You see him kind of following that red number 13 of Noah Carpenter. I think that this is kind of a savvy move, though. You want to be up on the top side of the racetrack, exactly where Rajah went in 1 and 2.
No flamenco sketches for Miles Davis to work his way up. He stays down in 15th, but Rajah's on his way. So we hop on board with Connell Bolton now, currently 26th. Here, and that is Jordy Lopez just in front of him. So that is actually a lapped car that we're riding on board with at the moment. Not fighting these drivers for position, but we got a front row seat to the battle for P3 between Kerwin and Thurston.
Yeah, the 21 here of Chenoweth is actually for position. So that yellow car that you see directly in front making the move down the back straightaway, that car is not for position. He is a lap down, just trying to get in the mix of things. He had mentioned there is that fast repair out there, and so he's got a brand new truck and fully up to speed.
Lars Chenoweth, P6, wants to probably see that 20 car kind of move out of the way a little bit. His beef is not with him. He needs those cars in front who are racing side by side. 20 has his own race, though. and is not giving up track position. Oh, and we got cars spinning, almost going up and over once again. The 17 of Thurston is chucked into the inside wall.
Yeah, I think that was contact from Jordy Lopez. I could have misseen that, or maybe the 17 came down, but definitely a huge incident for James Thurston, one of our front-running track. And the reason why we're not seeing these yellow flags out here, we've got race control, live race control, so it's not the iRacing based yellow flags. It is a human throwing those yellow flags, making sure it is working.
Exactly. So normal situations, you would probably see a few of these incidents bring out a yellow here on iRacing, but it's going to be green flag racing at least for a good portion of the middle of the race. We're already to lap 19, so almost 2/3 of the way through. Getting very loose is Caruth, and in front of him, neither truck willing to give way, as up the middle, who was that suddenly sticking his nose in? I think that was Chase Schaefer.
That was the 05, and it all kicked off. There's the 03 hard into the wall. Rajah Caruth gets spun down to the inside of the apron, makes contact with the wall down there. Very unfortunate for that number 71. We've got a yellow flag on the racetrack to bring everything back down to pace car speeds, but I think that all kind of started with that 03 getting slammed up into the wall by himself and then just stacking up directly in front of that 71. Kind of had nowhere to go, went down to the bottom, and somebody was already there.
It's a real shame. It was getting so frantic there in the mid-pack. I'm not too shocked that we wound up with a yellow eventually having to be thrown. Let's take another look at it. With, unfortunately, the namesake for the event getting caught up and getting turned down to the wall. He will have a spare car waiting for him if need be. Ripping the high side, Joey, and it looked like everything was clear until it wasn't.
Yeah, it was just the 03, right? The 03 got loose, and it wasn't anything that he was trying to block Rajah or anything like that. You see the 71 have a huge head of steam. The 03 just doesn't have the grip to hold it off of the wall there, gets into the wall. The 71 had that huge head of steam. He tried to actually avoid the 03, but in the process of doing that, I think it was actually the 05 that was already there that kind of ended up making the contact, and around Caruth went.
So that sends him to the back of the field. The one nice thing for him is that as we're watching these replays, pretty much the entire field is coming in for pit stops. So that'll keep him from losing too much out there. In fact, a few trucks I just saw miss their pit stalls in real time off camera. There you can see them now taking their service. I'll be honest, Joey, I figured with this being such a sprint race that we wouldn't see pit stops, but it makes sense because they have unlimited tires.
And remember what we heard, I think it was Rajah say in the interview after his heat, he was kind of burning off those rear tires. So maybe that's the situation that all of the drivers feel, is that through this, call it 21 laps, 22 laps that they're on right now, is that they've maybe taken advantage of those rear tires a little bit too much, and they want to come down, get a brand new set on, so that way they've got, call it a 7-lap sprint that they can just go out there and turn qualifying laps.
Boy, will it ever be a 7-lap sprint, because there is no green-white checkers in this race. It is, however it ends at the end of this one. I have a feeling that race control is going to be loath to throw another yellow and have it finish under caution. We'll see what happens, though, because you never know what could maybe force their hand on this one as the drivers get ready to go 2 by 2 soon. Here's a little look at Iago Moraes, as we mentioned, racing all the way from Brazil. And that is going to be slightly ahead on time zone. It's not as bad as France in terms of that, but still glad to see we get a little international flair here.
And I love seeing the inside, not only these drivers' faces and the smiles that they always have. I think Casey Kerwin, obviously one of the best smiles in all of esports, but obviously everybody out here having a fun time. And then I just have to enjoy myself on the different driving positions from all of these different sim rigs out there. We saw one with the big old steering wheel, the circle race steering wheel. Here's Brayton Nyland with more of what looks like kind of a Logitech G29 setup or something of the sort. And I think it was Lars that we were on board with a little bit earlier. I don't think he could have gotten any closer to his steering wheel.
And Brayton's obviously made me think I was wearing blue blockers there for a moment. It was very yellow, his webcam, as we take another look at the GM Motorsports event program today. Remember, only a 30-lap race, but make sure and stick around because Rajah Caruth going to be chatting with Evan Pisoko all about the STEM program that he is working with on this one, and of course the race we've put together and his career in general, just working his way from sim to reality, which is what all of us as sim racers love to see, showing how relevant the experience is from the sim to the real world racetrack and becoming a professional. Will it be a professional win for Vicente Salas as the green flag comes out? And once again, he gets a good start. This time it's Stephen Wilson who has to avoid the curse of second place, and boy does he, immediately is able to move into P2.
Yeah, and immediately went down to that low lane that we see here on these restarts on the initial acceleration phase, really kind of prevail the shortest distance around. And oh my goodness, Casey Kerwin blocking Jordy Lopez out of that momentum run down the back straightaway, but now the 89 forces it, and look at Rajah back here already making it 3 wide, trying to make his way up through the pack.
It is Black Friday at the supermarket. My goodness, everybody is fighting and clawing to try to get to the front. 6 laps to go. Salas holds what everybody wants as we go 3 wide behind him.
Yeah, I think that this is Noah Carpenter making his way through. Casey Kerwin hang on to it off of turn number 2. That was car control on full display. Unfortunately, Kerwin's going to lose a ton of track position with it.
Turn right to go left for him today, apparently, and he's going to get passed by the 71, making easy pickings through the field. Remember, he started this from the back after he had that moment, getting spun out to cause that last yellow and banging doors as we come back to the front. Salas versus Lopez for the lead.
Yeah, this is going to be a showdown up front. 4.5 laps remaining here at Charlotte. Can Vicente hang on to it? He has pretty much been in control this entire race long, but he has yet to face Jordy Lopez. And watch out for that red car in 4th place. Noah Carpenter up 26 positions so far.
Down to the inside, Lopez going to try to take this one away as he gets a nose ahead into turn 1. Interesting to note that these two are in the same Discord channel right now, so they're in direct contact, and you can tell they're having a good time. I think they're chatting with each other right now. We get 3 to go at the line, and race control has said no more yellows. We're green to the finish.
Yeah, so Jordy Lopez takes over the lead, and crucially, you see the smile out of both of them. They know that, hey, yeah, new leader, 89 up front. Let's see who can challenge him now.
Noah Carpenter going to make it 3 wide, maybe, as the 13 tries to go through the middle, banging against the wall there. The 11 of Salas loses some speed. This allows Carpenter to move alongside as the 22 of Bowman falls back. Could this be a surprise win from the 13?
I think if I'm looking at data points alone, watch out for that red and black number 13. On timing and scoring, he is the fastest truck. He's gained the most amount of positions. He finds himself up front as we're 3 by 3, a little bit further in the back. The 71 is going to scoot through the middle.
Down around 8th place or so. The 48's going to get turns. Can he hold it? No, he can't. He goes flying off to the inside.
Yeah, and we got a lead change potentially up front. Carpenter is down low in 3 and 4. This is the truck that everybody's got to look out for. Now Jordy Lopez going to try to pull the over-under with 1 lap remaining.
Beautiful job to make that move. That's going to get him back into the lead as the white flag is out. Question is, who's going to get to the line first? Will Carpenter watch that and be able to cover that move if he's able to do this again and manage to get underneath the 89? Or will Bowman surprise them both and take the win away? Jordy Lopez, 2 corners from taking a win in the feature race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As we come to the line, no one to challenge him this time. It is going to be Jordy Lopez going from 4th to 1st today in the feature race.
Stealing the show is that blue number 89, and it looks like a lot of extracurricular activity a little bit further back as they cross the start-finish line of this 30-lap feature race at Charlotte. I mean, that was some action-packed stuff, huge runs from lots of competitors. Hats off to Jordy Lopez for holding off Noah Carpenter.
Without a doubt, Jordy showing them how it is done here in the Silverado. as he'll come around to try and celebrate his victory in the feature race today. 77, gonna get a little bump of support there from him, as Wilson probably giving him a congratulations back. And burning it down, the 89 takes victory lane today. Well, what a race to kick off the evening as Jordi Lopez takes the win. It was a close one. Carpenter followed him right home there in second. I think he deserves a big pat on the back there for that P2 up from way back in the field. Bowman will finish in P3. Solis comes home in fourth, and Hankins managing to get up to fifth. Rajah Caruth in his own race is able to collect sixth place today. Actually, it's actually a nice job after he was almost spun all the way to the back there at partway through the race. Stephen Wilson seventh, and Vining in eighth, with Schaefer ninth and Sobilo in 10th, Joey.
Yeah, Miles Davis coming home here in 11th. Riley Rotan here in 12th. A big mover, up 19 spots for Riley back there. Keith Fonseca finishing in 13th, with Lucas Montresor coming back after that early little incident to finish in 14th. Thomas Coonan back here 15th. Brayton Nyland in 16th. Zane Bailey 17th. David Bolton in 18th. Graham Bolin 19th. And then James Thurston drops down to 20th.
21st is going to go to Mason Brink's last one on the lead lap. Casey Kerwin wasn't able to complete all the laps. He was 22nd. Chenoweth in 23rd. Then you've got Gill 24th, Slagan 25th, and Moraes in 26th. A lot of cars winding up many laps down. Ramon 27th, Lawrence. And then you've got Watkins, Lambrecht, and Cummings to wrap it up. We've got our winner ready to chat with us. Let's hear what Jordi Lopez did to come home with the victory today.
Jordi, congratulations on the win here at Charlotte.
I appreciate it, guys. It was extremely fun to be able to like just have fun and just try to brawl as much as possible.
It seemed like you had some excellent racing moves out there on the track. Is there maybe a redo on that burnout that you want?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. I didn't realize that that I needed to do it, so I kind of I guess you could say improvise it, yeah, because like I didn't know that it was going on until Drew said something, so.
No, you just got to grab second, get it up into third, maybe even fourth gear, and that's where the really good burnouts start to show out there. So maybe next time you collect that checkered flag, burn it down in fourth gear. But talking about the event itself, how happy are you to be here, not only to win, but just to kind of participate with everybody?
It's actually very fun. I didn't expect it to be this great. I'm not going to lie. At first, I was kind of skeptical about it, but this turned out to be like a great event, to be able to brawl with like the best drivers like Kerwin and Steven and Graham and Vicente. So it was actually very fun and it feels good.
Well, Jordi, I got to say congratulations on the win. An awesome show to watch, and we look forward to watching your race here in a little bit in Atlanta.
I appreciate it, guys.
That was Jordi Lopez, your winner here at Charlotte, driving that blue and white number 89.
Remember, we've got more racing in a little bit, but let's go to Evan first to look back at what we saw today.
Guys, I enjoyed just sitting in and watching, right? We watched those shorter heat races to lead us into things, but when we doubled up the truck count, I think we doubled up the action, right? Chaos early on. Raj involved in that hit right there with the 06 truck, slowed things down, and then you can see the chaos on the front straightaway as they all tried to dip and dive through to find their way by. And then once things got back underway and we got later in this race, it'll be yellow flag later on, set it all up. I mean, the 20 almost ended upside down, Joe. There was a lot going on for a 30-lap feature.
Really was, but it kept things interesting as we see what it looked like trying to battle for that top spot. There's another case of the 17 just about went up and over. Kind of surprised me. We saw so many trucks get just enough air under them that we almost saw them go tumbling down the back straightaway. Caruth, of course, also involved in another incident there in the feature. A restart giving us a wild ride to the finish, mostly wild for Casey Kerwin, somehow finding himself all sideways through 1 and 2. But then you could see the 48 getting loose on the back, took out a number of cars. Well, like we were saying, we've got Rajah coming up in a little bit here, Evan. I'm very curious because it brings me so much joy when I see these drivers on iRacing finally get the opportunity to show what they can do getting inside the real cockpit.
We've seen a lot of that in recent years, and that's going to continue to grow and grow. And Rajah is somebody else who is a testament to not only the feel-good story for those who have been involved in the sim racing community to get those real-world opportunities, but also, Joey, the accessibility that being able to maybe not necessarily start your career on the sim, but to be able to hone those skills, develop a passion, really opens up motorsports as a broader, segment of professional sports to those where, typically if you had to go to your local track and you had to go up through the ranks traditionally, could be, limiting for some people who would not be able to afford such a way.
And I think that STEM education is really important with racing. I go to the real-world racetrack all the time, and there's so many jobs within racing. It doesn't matter if it's the sanctioning body or the race team that students themselves can get involved in. If you're doing math, you know how to weigh fuel, right? If you know how to put together the numbers, you can start to do strategy with the lap counts and the tire wear and how everything degrades off. So there's a lot of hand-in-hand with STEM and also racing. And honestly, as the years go on, the more and more of these STEM projects we see kind of infiltrate into the racing paddock, not only with NASCAR, but with road racing and pretty much every form of racing out there.
Yeah, there really is unlimited possibilities, and we're excited to bring Rajah back into the booth. And I'll give you guys a chance to sit back and to relax, get prepped for the second race of the afternoon in Atlanta, because I was able to sit back and watch all of the excitement. And Rajah, you were bringing some of the excitement, man. That was a bit of an up and down feature race. It involved in an incident early, and then I thought, honestly, 3 wide, wreck with about 10 to go, that was going to be it for you. But I think that's P6 at the end. That was a pretty good bounce back.
Yeah, that's crazy. You never thought in an event you put together you cause a caution, but that was a lot of fun. I think, like I had mentioned earlier, it's a great, probably one of the most competitive track and car combos we have on the sim, and it was good to see the show that Vicente, Jordy, Noah, all them guys put on, and hopefully this ain't the last one. It was great to see for sure, and I had a lot of fun. So hate to cause my own caution for the first one I did. I find that pretty amusing, but overall, super fun combo. Hopefully, it was an entertaining product.
I heard from Vicente, Steve, and Jordy, the guys who took home the wins over the course of the heats and the feature. One thing they said is, they were just so happy to be a part of this event. So let's kind of go back to the top and start from there. What inspired you to get involved in creating this curriculum?
Yeah, Evan, I think for me, honestly, you guys mentioned it about how sim racing is something that lowers the barrier of entry for folks that have interest in getting in the world of NASCAR, but motorsport as a whole. And for me, the Racing with Rajah program is intended for like high school-ish students, right, to get involved in their classrooms and introduce them to racing at a basic level, but expose them to the sport. But the goal with this invitational event, I think, is just to give sim racers a chance to put their name out there and hopefully catch the eye of somebody. I think for me, I was fortunate to have that opportunity through the NASCAR Ignite series almost 10 years ago. That's actually really crazy to say, but that's really the goal with this program, and specifically with this invitational race. And it's nice because you have guys like the likes of Casey and Jordy, Co-Caliber, the best on the sim, and myself racing in real life. The goal is to have some more real life guys in here, whether that's Caden Honeycutt, Carson Hosevar, whomever in the years to come, hopefully. But with the goal of getting guys and gals the opportunity to be shown and an opportunity to race or be a part of the sport in real life.
Talk about your journey too, and kind of how that's influenced things, right? You mentioned your experience with the Ignite program, which was an opportunity for younger people on the sim to compete at a high level, to compete in a sanctioned NASCAR championship. I remember that series back with the Legends cars. You were 16 at the time when you competed in that series. So how has your personal journey, not only on the sim, but of course, as you've made that transition from sim to reality, influenced the content and approach for the Racing with Rajah program?
I think that's a great question, because I remember competing in that division and not knowing anything about sim racing, not knowing at all about what it takes to be competitive on here, and that really jump-started connections that I developed and friendships that I've developed over the last 6+ years on iRacing through that series. And I think that was a big inspiration as to why I kind of wanted to still be involved in sim racing, just because it's my roots ultimately, right? You see guys like Kyle Larson, right? He goes and runs his sprint car, his midget, and is super involved in that world. You've got guys that go back to their late model stock or pro late model or super late model roots, and these are my roots. So this is probably the least I can do, because I was fortunate enough to make that step and get some opportunities presented to me, and allow myself to make the most of them. So that's really like I said, the goal of this. And I really think about those days of on my MacBook that I split the hard drive on it to put Windows, racing on an old wood chair, putting an HDMI cord to that, to like a 15-inch monitor, and crazy to look back on the journey for sure. But who knows, you could see the next guy or gal that's like me racing in this invitational tonight right now, or somebody that's just going to get an iRacing membership because of an event like this.
And from those beginnings to a race winner in the NASCAR Truck Series, and now competing there full-time and part-time on the Xfinity side of things. For those who are joining us on the live Twitch chat, if you have a comment for Rajah or a question, feel free to drop it in the chat. We want to get you guys involved in this conversation as well. But we did tease we'd have some other guests in this segment, Rajah. So we're going to bring Landon Slagan into the conversation, and Landon's got a question for you.
Yeah, so I was wondering what you think is the most fun track to drive that you have run in real life?
That's a good question, Landon. Thanks for competing in the time trials and showing up. I would say in real life, it's hard. I think Bristol's up there for sure. I think that's a track that I've run really well at since I've run there in ARCA to the Truck Series and Xfinity car. I think about Kansas, Darlington, for sure, but I think Bristol is probably my favorite track. I'd say Nashville's up there too. And on iRacing, I don't know. It's I love the super speedway modeling. It's fun to race at Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega on here with the next gen, and side draft and bump draft and have high stakes kind of racing, and it's the closest thing I can kind of compare to what we do on Fridays and Saturdays.
Thank you.
Thanks, Landon, for jumping in and giving us your question. And I think we've got Mr. Jordy Lopez now joining in, who was our feature race winner. Jordy, what you got?
Hey, man. I was going to ask him if how does he prepare for each race? Because it must be intense to have so many throughout the year, and like having to like prepare yourself like every race. How does he do it?
Well, man, thanks, Jordy. I appreciate you, bro. Hey, I just want to know, you do all these drifting competitions, and why you do that lame burnout? I'm just playing. Honestly. Nah, but
I'm sorry.
Nah, but I mean, honestly, it's kind of the same of what you do with all the spreadsheets and the testing you guys do for the Coke series. Honestly, you guys probably do more testing than we do, just because the sims we use with Chevy and GM, we have to share it with the McAnally trucks, the niche trucks.
Yeah.
Not to mention the Xfinity teams, JRM and RCR and colleagues. So it's kind of a balance of using that time to perfect our trucks and cars, but also like working on my fitness and giving time and attention to my team, just because compared to the sim, where everything's the same for everybody, all the parts and pieces are identical. It's not in real life. So it's as much as you can be at your top level of performance, you've got to give that same attention and support to your team, because they've got your back, and ultimately they're putting the stuff together.
Yeah, true. All right, cool, man. Cool. And you need to see a braider, man. You need to see a braider.
Hey,
inside.
bro.
Your
Hey,
hair
bro.
looks
That's why
crazy
Malik.
right now.
That's why Malik is higher than you in points, bro.
Oh, that's
just playing.
crazy. I'm
I'm just
out of
playing.
here. I'm out of here.
Jordy's got to go do some burnout practice. That's what I'm hearing in my ear.
Yeah.
He had a good one. Of course, Jordy, your feature winner. And for those who may not join us on a weekly basis with these, Jordy, one of the drivers in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, basically the top level of pro sim racing here in North America. You talk about, Raj, trying to give back and that really being the motivation for you behind this program. Is there a memorable moment or piece of feedback from a student that has participated in this program that's kind of stuck with you as a, this is why I'm doing this kind of moment?
Honestly, it's hard to pick one. I think for me, the moments that stand out for me the most is to expose somebody, whether it's a young lady or young man, to racing for the first time. And I've never, that has never been to a race, has never watched a race on television, and has really been exposed to it for the first time. I think those are the moments that I really enjoy, just to be the one to explain racing from jump to them and kind of give them racing 101. At the same time, it's cool to, I think, meet people. I think about the event we did at the MLK Library in DC, and I met some students from my high school that actually liked racing. And I remember when I was at school, I was the only person that liked racing at all. So it's great to kind of see that impact and how things have changed over the years. But I'd have to say those were pretty cool. Also, you guys got to interview Keegan, man. I don't know if you guys can see his webcam deal. I'm looking at it on the Zoom call, and he's racing in his aluminum seat. You guys gotta bring him in for an interview. He asked me some good questions earlier about making the jump from where he's at in late models to the next step. And when you guys are done with me, I'll suggest interviewing him and give him a little runaway to give an elevator pitch about himself. I like the setup he's got.
There you go. Hey, I just got a word. We'll work on roping him into this thing. You mentioned, setups can be super basic on a laptop, or from, that to the bucket seat at home, the triple monitors. I mean, there is really the low barrier of entry into this, and then you can kind of take this sim racing thing as far as you want it, as either, maybe a professional tool or even, as a hobby for many. Riley wrote in somebody else who had a question for you. Riley's question was, who has influenced your driving style the most, and in what ways has that shaped the way you race?
That's a solid question. So my first driver coach was Mark Green, Busch Series driver, or Xfinity Series driver, Cup Series driver. He was my first driver coach from my first late model stock races to the ARCA Menard Series. I think him and the late Bobby Gill, Hooters Pro Cup Series, winning driver and super competitive across the short tracks of the Southeast. I think those two individuals had a huge impact on my driving career from starters. I think besides that, I think about Bubba. Obviously, he was there from my first Legend Car races to my first Xfinity start, and ultimately my first win last year. But in terms of people that I've watched and kind of followed after, I think about a Kevin Harvick, or I honestly probably him, to be honest, not necessarily from a etiquette or aggression perspective. I think honestly in real life my aggression is the thing that I need to continue to work on, because sometimes I'm not as aggressive as I need to be, I guess. But I would say in terms of how Kevin is super handsy with the steering wheel, and always checks kind of the back of the car or truck before entering the corner. I look at myself and I feel like I drive the same way with kind of my steering and just what I've learned off the sim. So kind of a complicated answer, but I think my first driver coaches, Mark and the late Bobby, but also, Bubba and the guys at the Chevrolet program that have helped develop me the last 3-4 years, Josh Wise and Scott Speed.
We've now another guest lined up. I was thinking about ways we could introduce him. We could go with Coke Series champ. Instead, I think just fellow Cars movie series enthusiast is the best way to do it. Casey Kerwin's next
Come
up.
on.
Hey, Casey.
Hello. Yes, Cars enthusiast. That's me.
That makes two of us.
You got a question for Rajah, or you got some critique maybe on how his truck race went? We'll take either.
Oh, please.
Yeah. My
Please.
my chat told me you caused a wreck. What happened?
I
there?
100% caused a wreck.
Okay.
That has 100% happened. I was passing the guy, and he blocked me a couple times, and then I just kind of drove to the back of him. I probably should have just gave him a corner or just went to the top.
Tough.
It wasn't a big brain move. You got to give me some coaching, man. Last year, I gave Casey access to some info to kind of give me some support for the real life stuff. Because honestly, some of the tactics that you guys use in Coke is applicable to what we do, especially like the 1.5 miles and the plate tracks. So I don't know if you want to share any of that, Casey. I think there's some stuff we talked about a little bit last year that helped move the needle for me, for sure.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of stuff. I think mainly with like racecraft. I mean, sometimes you can find things in like driving technique as well. But yeah, there's I think a lot of, especially with the way the next gen kind of races for us on the iRacing side, we have a lot of draft and things like that. I feel like it races in a lot of ways pretty similar to kind of how the truck stuff races IRL on 1.5 miles. So there's plenty of things that correlate between the two there. And I was another thing, I guess, because I was mentioning to my chat, I haven't driven the truck since they did the big update. How
they got a side force now.
Yeah.
Well, I've got an important question from chat, and they wanted to ask this one while you guys are both here. And Pato Award is the best in Twitch chat wants to know which Cars movie is the best and why is it Cars 3? So I'll leave you with that.
Ooh. Honestly, well, first and foremost, I don't get why people dislike Cars 2. I think Cars 2 was a great movie because it was just like a midsummer flick. That's all it was. It had no real it was literally the epitome of a side quest. I mean, that's all it was. No real correlation to anything. It probably is an important aspect of a famous driver's career of they go to do all these side quests, but you can't forget your homies. But I do like Cars 3. I'd say Cars 3 is probably.
I'm a bit older, and the OG original Cars is the best in my opinion. But they're all great. I love all of them. But purely from nostalgia reasons for me, the OG Cars is the best. Yeah.
So do you subscribe to Cars 2 being good though? Are you with Rajah on that one? Or
yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I think the big gripe is everyone just wanted more racing. Everyone wanted to see Lightning win the championships. Instead, we went on Mater's side quest of being a spy. But it was still great. It was still great, and I'm here for it.
Character arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Casey, we'll let you jump out of here, but appreciate you being a part of this event. We'll go back to Twitch chat again for another question. General Smitty91, Rajah wants to know, I know you've done some part-time stuff in the Xfinity series with the Hendrick Motorsports Group. Are there any plans for you to do some stuff in Xfinity this year?
I hope so. It would be great to be back in the Xfinity series. Ultimately, it's dependent on partners and everything, and hopefully we'll have something to announce soon for later on in the year, but as of right now, nothing to announce, but I hopefully will be back in the Xfinity series this year, and hopefully, I don't know what my next step is, to be honest, but my main focus is getting back in the playoffs in the truck series and getting some wins and hopefully making the Final Four.
Race winner in Las Vegas, looking for number 2. We've got another guest question we'll bring into the broadcast booth here. Keegan, you got us?
I got you.
Floor is yours. There's the seat. Rajah was calling for it. We can see it.
So I wanted to ask you, Rajah, here. I know I talked to you a little bit. Me coming from late models, I'm a 17-year-old kid racing late models. I was wondering if there's any big career advice that you have for people at my level or people like myself trying to move up to the NASCAR ranks.
Yeah, I think for me, because I was at that level, although I'm not sure what late models you race, I'm over here in the Carolinas, obviously, and running the late model stock stuff. I think for me, the biggest thing I see when I watch, whether it's modified racing, late model racing, even legend cars, right? You got to set yourself apart, but not in kind of a bad way. I don't think the way to go about it, right, is having all the flash and stuff and getting into controversy and stuff like that and getting attention that way. I think that the biggest thing is to obviously perform and perform the best for the equipment that you're in, but also build your relationships with your fellow, maybe not your racers because you're competing against those guys and gals, but other team members, people from other teams, going to ARCA races, Truck Xfinity Cup races, and coming with business cards and an elevator pitch and introducing yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing, is building those relationships, because there's always seats open, whether you've got money for them or not. Their seats are open, and you never know when your name could get called. So you've got to set yourself apart by obviously performing, but also building those relationships. And at the end of the day, just do it the right way. I think that's the way I'd go about things.
I appreciate that. And I have one more quick question for you real quick here. How important, obviously you coming from the sim as well, how big of a tool is iRacing for you going into a race weekend to prepare for the competition?
Yeah, it definitely is something that I kind of use wisely. I think we use so much of our GM, our sim at the GM Technical Center here in Concord for just our fine-tuning with our setups and everything. And for me, iRacing, I just use it more as a racecraft tool more than anything. In terms of, I mentioned the plate racing stuff, I use it for that, and kind of the mile and a halfs a little bit. So that's really the tool that I use, or the way in which I use iRacing as a tool, is just to learn that, or kind of work on my craft at those aspects and get sharpened for when we go to the racetrack. But I want to give you some time to give an elevator pitch about yourself. Tell everybody where you're from. You mentioned you race late models, where you're from, and you're 17, and kind of your goals and aspirations. If you guys could put Keegan on the center screen. I don't know how this works. I'm not a producer, but his there we go. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that for sure. So, hi everyone, my name's Keegan. I'm 17. I'm from Baltimore, Michigan. I'm currently competing in pro late models in the CRA All-Stars Tour. I'm looking to get into the ASA National Tour stuff as well. Just a short track kid that's looking to get up to one of the top 3 NASCAR ranks, and just would love to make a career in racing. Always loved the sport. I've loved it since I was 6 years old, and I was watching it with my grandfather as a kid. And ever since then, I've just always wanted to make a career in the sport, because it's just one of the best sports out there, especially with the community.
Sweet. Awesome. We appreciate it, Keegan. Hey, thanks for being a part of this and talking with us, and best of luck in all of those future endeavors. And, Rajah, you mentioned, hey, maybe the next person to make that jump could be somebody who's a part of this program here today, and wish Keegan the best. I've got 2 fun ones for you, then we'll try to steer things back on track, but a couple of rapid fires for you, completely unrelated to all of these other topics. First one up on the spot, favorite movie of all time?
Non-racing or racing?
I feel like we've covered cars. I'll allow a racing category as long as it's not cars.
Honestly, I would say like Speed Racer, but I'm gonna be an adult and stream a little bit differently. So
okay.
I'm a superhero movie nerd. As you can see, there's my Avengers inspired pit board from my rookie year. So I love all the Avengers movies. I love the new Captain America movie that just came out, or Valentine's Day. That was 2 months ago. Valentine's Day. The Black Panther movies, the Captain America movies. I think I'm just a big superhero movie junkie. Excited for the new Superman. I love the Snyderverse or a DCEU movie, so that's kind of I didn't really say one specific film, but I'm a superhero geek, so that's kind of what I like to watch in my spare time.
Okay, this might steer you in the same universe then, but favorite TV show?
Honestly, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, so that's a little bit of a, I guess, difference there. But outside of TV shows, I think The Office was probably my show that I liked a lot in high school and college. Biggest thing that's the only 2. Really, The Office is something I think about. I get a lot of my dry humor from that show. Michael Scott's probably my favorite character, so.
Sure, that's a popular answer amongst the chat. Some of the guys that we've talked to, some of the Coke Series drivers, they're putting their, eNASCAR trophies in the camera shot. They want everybody to know when they're streaming. So we had a question from YouTube chat, and that is, where is your trophy from the Las Vegas win last year? Is it at home or is it in the shop?
Well, I've got the original. It's downstairs. But in my background, I've got don't know if you can kind of see just some cool diecast, because I'm obviously a race fan and a geek a little bit, and some custom shoes that somebody made for me, and Casey's got some, Malik's got some, but the trophies downstairs, nothing really up here. It's kind of like an office space. You can see the desk is right there, but yeah, race fan, nerd, all the above. That's
well, I was gonna say I'm with you on the die cast. I've got plenty of those here as well.
I see, very nice.
One thing I don't have though in my background is a hammer. Is there a story to the hammer, or did we just interrupt you like mid-project?
I honestly forgot that was there. Probably was in the midst of putting up something on my wall.
Mid-project. You always got to be working on the office.
Hey, shout out Craftsman.
There you go.
Sponsor
always
of the
plug in. That's what it was
NASCAR
for. This was
Craftsman
not
Truck
a plant.
That was not on purpose. That legitimately was from me putting something up at some point in the last 3 months.
Craftsman tools for a driver in the Craftsman Truck Series. We'll jump back to kind of the bigger overarching topics. I know we got another race at Atlanta to get to. What are some of the key lessons or skills that you're hoping that students who participate in this program can walk away with at the end of the day? And it can be, within racing or kind of life skills as well.
That's a really good question. I think for me, I hope that this program exposes people to racing and kind of can learn the tips and tricks about the trade of NASCAR, whether it's the driving side of things or engineering, right? You see guys like Eric J. Smith, Keegan Leahy make the jump from racing the Coke Series to being involved at the cup level on the competition side of things, to marketing folks, whether it's somebody like Liam Brotherton or something like that. I think ultimately the other side of it, I just hope that it just exposes people to something new and kind of shows that individuals that can make it to close to the top of their respective trades, how important it is to kind of give back. So I think that's the stance I'd take on it for sure.
Absolutely. We've got another special guest that will drag up and into the room. Lucas has got a question. Lucas, go ahead.
Hi, guys. Hi, Rajah.
Hey.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be there. I'm really happy to be there. Just to let you know, I'm French. I'm a black French guy from Dijon. So, like Kendrick say, mustard. So
that's tough.
That's where I come from. So really proud and happy to be here, even if you put me on the wall right before.
Definitely.
But, that's racing. That's the first year I'm doing oval in NASCAR. So yeah, I'm really proud to be here. Really proud to see you. And my question is, how does it feel to be a community and cultural leader for diversity in NASCAR? As Lewis, as Bubba, there is few figures like that who represent us, our community. So yeah, I'm really proud of you, and that's my question.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, my mom used to be a French teacher, so good to hear from you. I think for me, it's definitely something that I cherish and honor, just because it's important, I think, from a representation standpoint, and knowing what my presence means on and off the racetrack to so many people. And I try to just do my best every day by really just how I carry myself. So overall, it's something I really cherish and appreciate your kind words. And hopefully there's more like you, there's more like me that'll be out there and coming to the racetrack, whether it's competing or online in real life. Or just being involved in the industry, point blank period, and not even just NASCAR, whether it's open wheel sports cars, dirt, really, you name it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope I will be able to compete with you maybe in NASCAR series, but it's kind of late right now. It's 4 a.m. in France, so.
Dang, bro, you gotta go to bed, man. Dang.
No, I'm gonna do the opportunity to be there, and that's crazy to be there, enjoying the moment with you, have some nice experience fighting with the best, Casey, you. Yeah, that's how you learn. Maybe, I'm gonna be tired tomorrow, but yeah, that's crazy to have the opportunity to race with you and do all that stuff. So yeah, I'm enjoying the moment, living my best life, and hope maybe it's giving me the opportunity to do something better on the NASCAR way. I don't know, but yeah.
Sure. Thank
you for that.
Appreciate the question and for being with us, Thomas. That kind of reminds me of Bubba probably thought this was weird, but back in the very early iRacing days, I raced a couple of hosted sessions with Bubba. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I got it screenshotted, printed, took it to the Vegas truck race to get him to sign it and put it on my wall. So for me, like, that was a cool opportunity, Raj, and clearly you're having that same impact on a lot of the guys who are participating in this race. We've got another question. Thomas Kunin's next up. Thomas, thanks for joining us. What's your question?
I got my question is about paint schemes. I know I've always wanted to know about if you ever got to like make changes or critiques to about existing paint schemes, or ever got to make changes to like your paint schemes in the future races are made to you and stuff like that. And on top of that, do you ever get a favorite paint scheme on top of that?
Yeah, Thomas, I think thanks for coming out here for sure. I think the last paint scheme I really had an impact on, we ran an Adam Petty throwback with Alpha Prime in the Xfinity car at Darlington a couple years ago. Besides that, can't really remember the last time. Oh, I guess in the Arkham Nard series for Rev, I wanted some Dayglow numbers, so I made my 6s Dayglow yellow to look like a Hendrick car. So I always thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, but I think for me, I love the paint scheme I have with HendrickCars.com, and it's the Ricky Hendrick throwback, forever throwback. It's nice because I've got it for the whole year, and it's not just for Darlington, it's the whole season. So it's an honor to drive that scheme and represent Mr. H and the whole fam over there for sure. But love that scheme, and hopefully I get to run it a little bit more. And Evan, I wanted to say, it's funny you said about your first sessions with guys. I have a picture on my phone of just me hopping in a late model session with Ty Majeski my first year of my first summer racing, and it's kind of funny because then him and I wrecked a couple years ago, and it's kind of funny. I still have that picture saved, so it's a little crazy to look back on it for sure. But yeah, I just wanted to share that.
We appreciate the question, Thomas. Thanks for being here. And one thing that I did not tell Bubba is that I'm pretty sure the picture was him lapping me, but it's fine. It's a screenshot. It was a static moment in time. That was on my sim rig for quite some time. James Bowman is next on up. James, I appreciate you being with us. What's your question for Rajah?
Hey, Rajah. I just had a simple question. What has been the most memorable moment in your racing career?
Man, James, it's hard for me to say one. I think the hard part about racing is that it's so performance driven. It's hard to kind of take in those moments of success and triumph. So for me, it's hard to pick one. I just kind of try to look back at every time I go to the racetrack and take in the moment, take in the grandstands and the facility, the plane rides, the whole nine. It's a pleasure. It's a blessing to be able to chase this dream. So it's kind of hard for me to pick just one, just because it's crazy sport. It's an honor to be a part of it, and I remember just being a fan when I was younger. So hard to pick just one. Hopefully I could say it's the next win, whenever that is.
I love that answer. Thank you, Rajah. Thank you for putting this on.
James, for the question. Thanks for being a part of this one. We'll bring this now full circle, and we've talked about the various ways that drivers can use STEM education and their experiences here in a virtual world and take those into reality, right? Drivers on the driving side, but also people in this community who have done things on a graphic design side, on a competition side. You listed some of those examples. When we look back on this Racing with Rajah curriculum, and you take all of those different use cases into account, your personal experience, how does the curriculum integrate real-world racing experiences and concepts that you've experienced, to your point, to try to pay it back and give others those same opportunities?
Yeah, I think the program for 13 to 15-year-olds, right, it explains literally the basics of drafting, of aerodynamics, what a pit stop is, what broadcasting is. It just, there's so many intricacies to the sport of NASCAR, or I guess the niche of NASCAR and motorsport as a whole. And so that's really, like I said, the goal of it. And whether it's the basics of like a tire has 5 lug nuts in the Truck Series and Xfinity, and 1 lug and cup, or these are stages, and this is what we do for fuel and stuff like that. Just kind of a basic level of info to inspire somebody to be like a Blake McCandless or a Vicente Salas, to get exposed to driving in real life or being in part of something on either Friday, Saturdays, or Sundays.
Well, Twitch chat's having a lot of fun with tonight's program. Somebody in Twitch chat said that if you win the Fall Bristol race, they'll get the 71 tattooed on their stomach. And then somebody else said that if that happens, they would get a tattoo on their stomach of the other person with the tattoo on their stomach. So it's getting a little bit out of control. Landon Slagan's also going to be in the second race. He is using Twitch chat to ask you to be a drafting partner. So there's a lot going on as we get set for Atlanta, which is coming up next. So Rajah, really appreciate you not only putting this event on and again, trying to give back to this community, but also for being gracious with your time and chatting with us. Best of luck in Atlanta. Maybe we'll be chatting again in a little bit. Yeah,
thanks, Evan. Appreciate you, everybody. I do not entirely condone tattoos. I have tattoos. They hurt. If you choose to do that, okay, I wouldn't recommend doing it on your stomach. Do it in like a discreet place. Like, I won't say all my tattoo locations, but like my family one is right here on my arm, but I can like cover it, with a long sleeve shirt. That'll be my only advice. I'm not telling you to do it. But if you do it, respect. Yeah, I won't sign. Maybe I'll sign it. I'm not saying. Do not use any of what I'm saying if you're gonna try to get it, please. Fall Bristol. Now I have an added reason to make sure I'm paying extra attention. Raj, we'll let you get to the cars, or to the trucks in this case, as we get set to go racing for the second half of tonight's program at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I wanted to say a big thank you to all of the Racing with Rajah STEM Invitational sponsors and partners: the Urban Youth Racing School, McWane Science Center, the DC Public Library Foundation, the Ludacris Foundation, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, the Jackie Joyner Kersey Foundation, Microsoft, River City Dreams, STEM NOLA, the Mayor Marion S. Berry Summer Youth Employment Program, Harris Stowe University, Worldwide Technology, the Community Foundation, GM Motorsports, RCZ Sports Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Richmond, New York City College of Technology, and St. Louis Science Center. In no particular order, thank you very much to all of those partners for making tonight's show possible and for powering the Racing with Rajah STEM Invitational and this entire program. And with all of that being said, we are ready to go racing Atlanta coming up now.
This is iRacing.
Welcome back. I'm Joe Peak with Joey Atterbury once again for the Racing with Rajah STEM Invitational. And we have switched circuits. We've gone from Charlotte Motor Speedway to Atlanta Motor Speedway, what has now become an impressive and crazy super speedway here on the NASCAR circuit. And this is going to be a wild one, Joey, but I'm really looking forward to this. We saw already some incredible stuff at Charlotte, and frankly, some fantastic driving amongst the drivers. I mean, that was great door-to-door stuff.
It was awesome racing to watch out there, but it was also awesome to get to listen to Evan really talk with Rajah there with that interview process, because we always see these figures as race car drivers, and we kind of put him up on that pedestal, if you will, and it was nice to just kind of hear what his favorite movies were, hear what his favorite TV shows were, hear him listen to talk to all the interviews about all these drivers that are literally coming to race against him. They want to race against Rajah out there. So yeah, great racing at Charlotte. First off, we're about to see amazing racing here at Atlanta, but I think the coolest part was definitely listening to Rajah and talking to all those people.
Well, and you know, the thing that really sat well with me and that I connected to is the humility in his response about his favorite moments of saying, you know, just the entire thing was just, he's constantly soaking it in. And I feel the same every time I get to work in real world motorsports. Just being there at the track is just always an incredible moment. But so loved getting to hear his thoughts and also just get to pick his brain a little bit about what's going on in his racing career. Now, we switch gears back to the racing itself instead of the chat show as we go for race 2 at Atlanta. This one's going to be a little bit longer as it's 40 laps long. We're in the midst of qualifying right now, so drivers are taking care of that behind the scenes. We'll get to that order in just a little bit, but our GM Motorsports event program shows us what the last little bit has in store for this evening. And should be a fun race, a little bit more straightforward. But let's head straight forward to talking about the track, Joey.
Yeah, let's take a look at this iRacing track analysis. We are on the quad oval of Atlanta Motor Speedway, just a tick over 1.5 miles in length. And of course, it is that fresh new version, 28 degrees banked through the corners, slightly on the straightaways, 5 degrees. First opened way back in 1960, but of course we are racing the new version. And Rajah's best finish here was actually just last year in 8th place, a nice top 10 in that Craftsman Truck Series race. So we're going to see what these Chevy Silverados are going to do around this quad oval, now call it Super Speedway circuit here in Atlanta.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing is it does share those similarities as here we see all the various sponsors and partners that have helped put this show on. And there have been many to help get us on the way. We heard Evan, of course, listing them off. And if you want to get involved, for more information on how STEM leads to speed and racing with Rajah, scan the QR code on the screen and you can get involved with this program. And if you keep hearing us say STEM and you're wondering what the heck is this, STEM education stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's an interdisciplinary approach to learning that emphasizes hands-on problem-based learning. Easy for me to say. It focuses on preparing students for careers in these fields or equipping them with valuable skills that are applicable across many industries, including racing, of course. Now, STEM education aims to foster critical thinking, problem solving, and of course, innovation through real-world applications. So it's a huge part of education these days, especially with how much each of those disciplines, of those 4 disciplines, involved in so much of our world these days. And as we mentioned, is really a core aspect of motorsports itself. So very helpful if you get involved with any sort of STEM and you want to get up in racing. Now, these drivers are going to be racing with, of course, our pole sitter, James Thurston, on the top spot. Zane Bailey's going to be starting next to him on the outside of that front row. Kealoha Hankins good enough for 3rd today, with Thomas Coonan starting in 4th. 5th goes to Lars Chenoweth. The outside of row 3 will be Tanner Lawrence. Riley Raton is going to be starting in 7th today. 8th goes to Trey Lambrecht. You've got Connell Bolton starting in 9th. And Joey, you've got Keegan Sobilo rounding out our top 10.
Yeah, and then at 11th, we've got Graham Boland there, followed up with Chase Schaefer in that 05 starting in 12th. Noah Carpenter, the big mover, last race at Charlotte, starts in 13th. Matt Watkins back here in 14th with Lucas Montresor. We just heard him talking to Rajah in that interview, starts 15th. Noah Gill in 16th with Brayton Nyland back here in 17th. James Bowman in 18th. Landon Slagan here in 19th, and Miles Davis rounding out the top 20.
Iago Moraes is going to be starting 21st with Keith Fonseca in the 22nd position. Then you've got John Vining on the inside of the next row. Mason Brinks will be to his outside. Last driver to actually set a time here, Casey Kerwin, will be starting from 25th. Vicente Salas in at 26th and Stephen Wilson at 27th. Rajah Caruth will be 28th, and 29th goes to Aaron Ramon. So a lot of big names there at the back, Joey. I have a feeling intentionally trying to start from the back.
Yeah, I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, Joe Peak. And yes, I think a lot of those fast drivers are going to be starting from the back. I think I call it the most smiles per lap, right? Go up there and try to pass as many cars as you possibly can as we take a look at this GM Motorsports Atlanta race format. The drivers have already done that qualifying, only one lap available, so it's really just one and done out there. They do have a fast repair, unlimited sets of tires, but it's all about track position here with the super speedway format of the new Atlanta. Admin cautions only, just like what we saw at Atlanta, so if there's a big wreck, they'll be on top of it, but I'm sure if they're wrecking for last place, we'll be staying green as we take a look at our Microsoft weather report here. Very, very similar ambient conditions to what we saw at Charlotte, about 74. But look at that track temperature, Joe. 120 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a scorching southeastern track.
It is, and not helped by the fact that this is the more fresher version of the pavement, so it's much darker. On iRacing, they do take the color into account, so that's probably what has caused it to be so much hotter out there as the drivers are on their pace lap now. We're going to go green this time by. Before we get to the racing, I can attest to what Rajah was saying on the tattoos. My wife is actually a tattoo artist, so if he does manage to take that win, those two viewers out there on Twitch, hit me up after he takes that victory. I can maybe get you hooked up out there. As we'll see who comes away with the victory today. Doubt there's going to be any tattoos dedicated to the win on this one, but definitely some pumping fists, whoever manages to win at this incredibly fast semi-super speedway, I guess maybe we could call it, with this 1.5 mile format. Already the pace car is in. James Thurston going to be starting on the inside. He's in the restart zone, and there he goes. Green flag is out. It's a very good start, but unlike what we saw before, Joey, not going to be as important getting that inside line.
No, but the two cars on that bottom lane, the 17 and the 30, are already hooked up. That's James Thurston, your pollster, being pushed by Kealoha Hankins there in that yellow and green number 30. They're going to stick to the bottom side of the racetrack here, going down the back straightaway, still defending down to the inside, and these trucks are going to take the shortest distance around here on the first lap.
Exactly, as they're still getting up to speed, but we're already up to about 180 miles an hour around this circuit. Very single file for the top four, but then it starts to get too wide behind them as we hop on board the blimp and look at the field.
Yeah, look at this. Already cars going up top. A big block there in the middle of the racetrack. I think that was the 0-2 kind of getting shoved out of the way. That was Thomas Kunin, who's now getting taken advantage of down the back straightaway.
It was indeed. He'll fall back just a couple places, but thankfully doesn't fall all the way to the back of the field. Ooh, 17 getting a little bump from behind as the 21 of Chenoweth does not hook up squarely.
Yeah, Thurston, I think it actually was loose before the 21 got to the back bumper there, so I think the giant loose moment maybe caused Thurston to kind of breathe off of the gas that little bit, and the 21 of Lars Chenoweth thankfully didn't turn him around, and you see this bottom lane really starting to get stacked up. We're already seeing those accordion effects when they compress.
Exactly, but we still have that one single big pack in the field. Drivers not wanting to lose touch with the front. And Joey, for those that aren't familiar with super speedway racing, this is going to be very different to the style we saw. As before we get to that thought, the 0-2 goes around, and it's going to be a big wreck in the middle of the pack, but we don't see a yellow throne. We stay green.
I think that the majority of the field, call it the first top 25, are still all connected together. So remember, it is not that iRacing full course yellow, but I have got my eyes firmly focused on this blue and white number 71. We're riding on board with them right now with Rajah Caruth. He's going to go to the top side. He's going to help push Chente Salas there in that number 11. Remember, these cars started all the way at the back. Lap number 5 already up 20 positions.
Wow. And Yeah, these drivers are using that effective slipstream to great effect into the top 10. Look at Chente up 22 spots. Big brush of the wall for both of them, but they don't lose the speed, as it was Coonan and Gill, the ones that wound up at the back of the field. Gill is actually in pit lane. Coonan is still kind of running around solo.
Look at this field right now. We are 3 by 3 for the front 2 rows, and then it kind of miles out into single file, about 15th on back. So if you're going to get positions, you better go 3 wide here at Atlanta.
It was Rajah's turn to get loose there coming into turn 3. Not sure what upset the truck, but he comes back down a few positions, down to somewhere around 12th now. Meanwhile, here comes Wilson once again as he sides his way through. Question is, how high up will he go? He does not want to be stuck in the middle like he is now. There's no place to escape.
Well, all those drivers that we kind of pointed out that started at the back, talking about Salas, Caruth, Kerwin, and Wilson, they're all lined up on the top side with the exception of that black and green number 77 of Steven Wilson as we get the onboard shot of Lars Chenoweth here. This was actually the shot that I was talking about as Caruth almost gets turned by Casey Kerwin. Look at how close Lars is to this steering wheel. He could almost take a chomp out of it.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's whatever style of racing wheel and seat that you like, you can set up in your office or wherever you set up your sim rig and go racing. So yeah, we see all different types out here. Still 2 wide up at the front. Might be 3 wide soon as Thurston's leading that 3rd row.
And let me tell you, we didn't see it on screen, but Casey Kerwin and Steven Wilson almost wrecked themselves, plus the entire field that previous lap. So they've actually lost a little bit of touch to this main group, but I still see Rajah in that 71 mixing things up, and he's actually gotten in front of Salas there in that number 11 car.
Down to 23 cars that are still with this main group. Slagan, Brinks, Nyland, Coonan, Gill have dropped off the back or have been involved in incidents up to this point. 3 wide still as they carry on. And remember, 40-lap race this one, so there's not going to be a lot of time.
We were talking about maybe a little bit of rear tire fall off at Charlotte, but I'm seeing these trucks. I keep calling them cars. I need to call them trucks that they're just wicked loose here at Atlanta. I'm seeing, flames out the pipes of breathing so that way they don't run over the truck directly in front of them. And look at this. We're still 3 wide for the first 3 rows.
Lambrecht down on the bottom, and he slides up into the field off screen. That's going to bring off the yellow flag for the first time in this race. There you see the 22 facing the wrong way as Kerwin was pushing him along with Vining, unfortunately. So that's going to allow a few cars to catch back up. They'll be grateful about that. Others will be diving in to take their spare car after that one.
There is a lot of action going on the front straightaway here at Atlanta, and cars coming back up onto the racetrack right in front of the pack. It was just kind of a little bit of a mess in turn number 1. Here is that replay. So watch the 2 cars, watch the 22 and the 23 here on the very bottom of the screen. A bump draft kind of sends them down onto the apron, and all of a sudden the 23 gets back up onto the racetrack, can't keep it down low, and essentially 5+ cars collected in that one.
I mean, what do you do in that sort of situation? Because there's some people who will slag off super speedway, Joey, as just being a crapshoot, but there's very much a skill to this style of racing.
Yes, there is a skill to it, and I think in that sort of situation, when you're on the apron, when you've gotten pushed down there, you probably want to breathe off of the gas before kind of getting it back up onto the racetrack in front of somebody. And actually, who better to talk to than Casey Kerwin, kind of caught up in that one. What was your point of view from it?
Yeah, they just started wrecking in front at some point. It got the truck handling started to go away quite a bit. So yeah, we were trying to make our way back. We got caught up a little bit in something, and then yeah, they started wrecking, and yeah, it was like 3 or 4 trucks in front of me. Didn't have anywhere to go, and we piled on in. So we'll get it fixed up though, and try and if I can drive this thing back, it's a little damaged, but yeah, we'll get it fixed up and then go from there.
It at least didn't seem like any ARCA breaks going on back there. It seemed like you guys pretty much had no time to react. But you had brought up an interesting point I want to ask you. How quickly was that tire fall off? I mean, we're only on lap 13 with the yellows right now, and you already said it's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I think I might have be a bad take on this because I did a big burnout for the fun of it, leaving the grid, and I think I might have hurt the rear tires a bit earlier than everyone else. But no, I mean, everyone clearly was struggling. So yeah, it's where it gets kind of fun with Atlanta. It's still kind of speedway racing with the draft, but still gotta be smart with handling and take care of your stuff. So it's it'll be fun all the way to the end, I'm sure.
I guess being cool comes with looking the part, and that comes with a burnout too, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I was having fun back there.
Well, Casey, good luck with the redemption charge up through it with a brand new truck out there. We'll be watching you.
And the drivers are definitely taking this seriously because they want to win, but they're also having a good time in the process. I was watching, we didn't see it on screen. Casey actually drove the truck backwards to pit lane just to show off a little bit more. So, yeah, I'd say he's having a good time out there.
I mean, Ricky Bobby did that and he won a race. So, I mean, I think that's a completely fair style.
It's an impressive reverse gear, I suppose. But we're getting ready to go green. Before that, do we have a replay of his there you go. There's the shenanigans. Love it. This is, honestly, I was thinking more instead of Ricky Bobby. That's very Days of Thunder. Remember when he showed up coming into pit lane?
Yes, very
Yes.
much so. And even with the nice J-turn at the end, it didn't even overshoot the box. Once again, cool points to Casey Kerwin.
Absolutely. Ka-chow indeed as we come down the back stretch. And Lars Chenoweth going to be starting at the front on this one with Tanner Lawrence to his outside in the 15. Boy, what do you do in this situation, Joey? Especially if you're at the back of the pack. It's clearly dangerous if you're not up towards the front.
Track position is key in super speedway races, and we got, call it the top 9 did not come down pit road. They opted to stay out there for that track position. Everybody from 10th on back has brand new rubber. I do think that handling is important here at the new Atlanta, so watch for the front 9 to be maybe a little bit weary on this restart.
All right, so as we get ready to go racing, once again, another early start from the group as Chenoweth takes off. Is he going to get swallowed up, though? He doesn't have anybody going with him to try and push.
And we're going to find out here in 1 and 2. If I'm the leader, I am sticking on the bottom, on that paint right there by the apron, so that way nobody can get underneath me. And here comes the 28 of Keegan Sobilo. Remember, we were talking to him and all of his super late model experience, or I should say late model experience. He now gets hooked up with Chenoweth down low and contact a little bit further back. We got a wreck in turn number 3.
Another yellow unfolding, another multi-car incident. I see Bolin involved in that one, unfortunately. Looks like maybe a few others in there. Fortunately, I've lost all of them on my timing screen. It looks like it is very mixed up in that group. Now, I mentioned earlier that they have a spare car in case they get involved in a wreck, but that's only one. If you use it, then, well, pretty much you've lost your safety net. You're going to have to sit and take repairs if you want to get back in the race.
And this was a really close call for all of the drivers that we were talking about that started in the back. Salas barely squeaked his way through. Steven Wilson got contact, had a huge save. Rajah Caruth just, inches to spare to his driver's right side door. Let's take a look at this replay here. It all kind of starts in the middle of the racetrack and goes up towards the top end of it here. So we see 3 wide. And just contact with the number 12 car sets it off initially. See the 10 and the 48 getting spun around, and all of those cars kind of diving down to the inside when that wreck started. We're able to scoot through.
Unfortunately, both of our KCP drivers involved in that one, so that'll be a little bit of a miserable day for that team. But in the meantime, we'll slow down once again. Not seeing pit stops like we saw with the other race, at least not pit stops for tires or fuel or anything like that. Maybe a few drivers coming in to have the virtual sheet metal banged on just a bit. So the rest of the trucks carry on as we slow it down. We're almost halfway through this one. I will say, Joey, I know I have the same problem as you do, often calling these cars. My view is all trucks are cars, not all cars are trucks. So we're technically right.
Yes, they would technically right out here. And looks like we've got Mason joining us here in the booth. How's it going out there, Mason?
Good. A little chaotic. I don't know if I got too high in cars that vast caution out there.
Well, it was multiple cars involved. We're not going to be pointing any fingers out here. But I also got to ask you, how are the sunglasses inside there giving you a nice view?
Yeah, they're just my night light glasses because I have to go to school tomorrow and do a lot of testing, state testing, so gotta get a good night's sleep.
How have you liked the racing so far? You going to try to get back up to the front?
Yeah, good. I just struggled at Charlotte. I got in the wall on lap 1, just struggled with damage the whole race. And then in the heat, I was messing with my steering ratio and was just too tight.
Well, good luck out there, and we'll be watching you.
Thank you.
Mason Breeks driving the 29, running 4th on this restart. Curious to see if this will maybe last a little bit longer than what we saw before as we get underway. And Tanner Lawrence will once again be up at the front. This style of racing also a little bit specialist, I would say, Joey. You get those Dale Juniors who seem to just be very good at super speedways.
Super speedways are kind of their own art when it comes to racing, and it's not just put your foot to the floor and bump draft the truck in front of you. You have to understand where the momentum comes from, whether it's corner entry, rolling the speed through the middle, or getting the run down the straightaway. So it's not the bottom line always. It's not the middle line always. It's not always the top line. So yes, you're right, Joe. I think that if you go to short tracks, you get a lot of short track racers. If you go to 1.5 miles, it's one type of racing. Super speedways, a whole different bag.
Who's going to come home with a bag today as the pace car is in. Tanner Lawrence getting ready to hit the throttle. Last time he was able to get away with jumping away from the field. As the green flag comes out, he once again starts to pull a bit of a gap, but not as much of one this time. In fact, he's going to maybe jump up to the high side briefly. No, switches lanes again just to keep anybody from getting some momentum. And down the back straightaway, he's got a good run being pushed by Sabilo.
I think that's the smart move, especially on these restarts. Prevent that momentum to get underneath you if you are that leader. Now you see the 28 of Sabilo try to take that momentum to the top side through 3 and 4. He's got the 21 of Chenoweth really working that back bumper right now, trying to push him out to the lead. It looks like he's clear, but does he take the bottom line? Yes, he does.
My goodness, somebody's trying to make it 3 wide up there. I think that's Solace. And it looks like he's going to get some help now as 3 lines distinctly form down the back straightaway on lap 20. Who is going to be able to get their line moving is the real question, as there's a little bit of cars going back and forth. The 20 hits the wall and falls back.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the driver we were just talking to, and now we got a 15 turned and up on his door over the start-finish line. That was a big-time wreck where one of the trucks almost went over onto its roof, and now the 71 is also spinning down here in turn number 1. The wreck started on the front straightaway. It's ending in turn number 2.
And it started at the very front as well. Tanner Lawrence learning that you might be at the sharp end of the field, but still you are not safe from the chaos that comes with this style of racing. And so he's going to have to use that spare car that he has sitting waiting for him as long as he can get back out on the lead lap before we restart once again. It has been a spate of yellows here mid-race, and we've actually got 2 incidents going at the same time. As we take a look at the replay, we know of the one at the front. What happened elsewhere?
Yeah, so watch the 05 and the 15 here. The 05 tries to make it 3 wide, and there just, in my opinion, wasn't enough room right there. And you see these wrecks happening, and then while everybody rejoins from the apron, it was just madness in turn number 1 here. You see Rajah was trying to get the thing slowed down, and in my opinion, he had the right trajectory, right? He was going to keep it on the racetrack. I just don't think that he was expecting it to be 3, potentially even 4 wide when he rejoined.
Yeah, that sometimes can happen out here. And, you know, my time talking to real world drivers that have come from the sim side, one of the things that they've mentioned that is definitely different between the two of them is that when you wreck in the sim, there's definitely a lot less to worry about after that wreck, because usually real world stuff comes with a bit of a check to be handed out.
Yeah, you know, it is a little bit different because the safety aspect isn't there. But Rajah, I want to know, what was the plan going Pro 2 through the grass?
Man, well, you can't get grass stuck in the splitter on iRacing, so I was like, let's see if I can pick up some spots and not check up for the crash. And it didn't slow down nearly as good on the apron as it did on the 28 degrees of bacon here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But luckily we've got fast repairs, so we're right back in it. Can y'all put up a replay so I can see it from the outside perspective, please?
You want to see it right now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, we'll queue it back up. We had showed it, but while we've got you here in the booth and we got the light still on, we'll get it queued up so that way you could see it. Because I mean, first of all, you lived it. There was that huge wreck across the start-finish line. Here you go.
Wreck. Yeah.
Yep. So you avoided that, and then here's your move. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I just didn't start slowing down enough, and I just clobbered that guy. Wow. And I cost even more carnage. That was not ideal.
Not ideal.
Yeah, yeah, I missed the first part. I think if I would have slowed down more and not gone into the grass, I think it would have been all right. But then I started hydro grassing, and that was it.
Real quick, because the lights are out, I got to let you go. You got the truck all fixed up?
Oh yeah, we used our fast repair. Oh, I got to pass this guy. We're gonna go to the front, checkers and wreckers. Let's see what happens.
Awesome. Good luck out there. We'll let you go.
Thanks.
Well, Rajah says, I want to go fast, and is going to try and see if he can work his way back to the front, as we are now double file. In fact, we're still getting some of those trucks in line back behind our leaders. We should have plenty of time to get them in the position they need to be, thankfully. You can see it's a little messy, but they'll tidy that up. Already halfway through this race, you can see 17 to go. It's going to restart with 16 laps to go, Joey. This has definitely been a little bit messy compared to before.
It's a little bit more contact-filled than what we saw at Charlotte, but I think that's to be expected. A completely different style of racetrack. Yeah, they're 1.5 miles. Yeah, they're quad ovals, but ever since the repave here, this is truly super speedway racing. And as we've seen, 3 wide, not a problem with these trucks. So these drivers, they're going to push the limit.
Indeed. And remember, all that's on the line here is the ego boost of saying you have taken the win in this special event. And Keegan Sobilo is going to try and start off in the lead on this restart and finish it at the checkered flag in the same position as Hankins up on the high side gets hung out to dry. Everybody moving to the bottom.
Yeah, and I think that bottom is really where you want to be, at least until this point. Now, right here, you need a buddy, the buddy system. You need to be paired up, if not in the line. And right now, the line is all the way down low on the bottom side of the racetrack. The first 4 trucks hooked up nicely, then a little bit of a break back there to the 06 of Lucas. The only truck up front on the top side, Kealoha Hankins.
I was going to say, Hankins, though, being very clever. He was side drafting down the backstretch, and that kept him hanging with them for quite some time. Meanwhile, in behind him, I think that's Montresor, who has decided to hook up along with the 20 of Bolton. So Highline starting to see a little bit of help, but it's not quite up to the lead with Sobilo.
Anytime we talk about super speedways, you need to have a drafting partner, and a third drafting partner is better than a second. A fourth is better than 3. 5 is better than 4. So the more trucks you got lined up and organized, the key word organized. If you are not organized, you're not going to be making your way through forward. And now here comes that top lane.
Bolton definitely not organized as he slaps the outside wall and falls backwards. The 25 gets loose and is into the wall hard. No caution being thrown on this one, a single car incident.
Yeah, and I see the 20 got up into the wall in turns 3 and 4, but is able to kind of keep that truck straight as well. So we stay green flag here on the racetrack. 13 laps to go at Atlanta.
It was Keith Fonseca, and his engine is toast from that hit with the inside wall. Meanwhile, high two lines are actually really moving as the 21 of Chenoweth goes backwards in a hurry.
Looks like the 24 here of Casey Kerwin is getting a huge shove from Bolin in that number 48. He almost got cleared for the lead as we're 3 wide for second place coming off of turn number 4. You see the 30 down low there. He's trying to play all 3 lanes, and now he picks the bottom.
Kilo Hankins from the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, used to run in that NASCAR College Series, showing he hasn't lost any of the sharp end of his skills as he tries to go for the win, but is chopped off now by Schaefer, who leads the race.
Riding on board here with the number 16 truck of Slagan. He's looking down to the inside, just trying to inch his way forward up into this, call it top pack of 9 cars, as we're 4 wide. Caruth down in that second lane. Then you see him funnel down to 3 wide coming off of turn number 2. We got more door banging action. There's a yellow flag. Multiple trucks involved.
Kerwin getting some air on that one, and a bunch of hits on every other side. Remember, he's already been involved in a wreck, so he's probably out of this race now. We get another yellow and slow it down, but it'll be Schaefer and Hankins who come out P1 and P2. 10 laps to go. We're going to get a very similar end-of-race shootout to what we had back at Charlotte.
I think I saw multiple trucks with that super cool iRacing blowover physics. Here we're going to get a replay queued up. And, I mean, surprise, surprise, this all starts with the 4 wide moment coming off of what is turn number 1 and 2. So here we kind of see it develop on the front straightaway. Rajah just makes an excellent aggressive move to force it 4 wide. Leaves a lane on the bottom, plenty of room up top, but ultimately watch that 0-3 coupled with the 24, just a little bit of contact coming off of turn number 2, and then it was just pinballs from there. I do have to feel for Caruth in that 71. Rajah was completely clear of this accident, yet he got tagged in the left rear quarter panel going down the back straightaway. That's what got him involved in it. It's a shame.
It takes the tiniest things in this butterfly effect of style of racing that'll suddenly cost you the entire thing, and you're back in pit lane, sitting and waiting for the crew to get it back into shape and get it onto the track. It's a couple cars getting laps back, it looks like. That was Keith Fonseca, who did get his free repair, so he'll be back into things. That's nice to see for him. But we've lost about 10 cars. It looks like about 8 cars, 8 trucks rather, that are off of the lead lap at this stage. We've got one more view here. Let's take a look at Wilson on the replay. So this is all happening right in front of him. Does Casey take a ride over top of him here?
Let's see here. It just all develops in front. Wow. Yeah, that was a little bit of a Bad Boys 2 moment of going underneath the car, flipping over, and then, yeah, he avoids the second wreck there in turn number 3 and 4. Steven, how was it from your driver's seat point of view?
Yeah, that was pretty wild. You know, Casey's upside down. I'm about driving under him, so that was pretty wild. But I don't know how we made it through. I've been in about every other wreck this race, and now I'm running 5th all of a sudden. So we got a shot at it still.
So, Super Speedway, New Atlanta, what's the game plan? I mean, you find yourself with good track position here with, call it a shootout style to the end. What's the plan?
Plan's to try to get to the front. I don't really know what else to say. I don't know what lane's been moving. I haven't been up here the whole time. So, we're still learning on the fly, even with 7 to go, and hopefully we find our way to the front.
And the big question about tonight, are you having fun?
I am having fun. This is a lot of fun. You know, a couple of pretty good combos we put together here, and some good racing. So hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Well, good luck, Steven. We'll be watching you.
Thank you.
Glad to see he's having fun. Also disconcerting that someone like Steven Wilson says we're still learning. I feel like he's learned plenty already in sim racing. So if he's still figuring things out, clearly there's a lot to try and parse in this race as we're already double file. We're ready to go racing. Joe, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who have you got for the win?
It's tough not to go with Steven Wilson, the driver that we just interviewed. So I'm going to put my money on the 77. It's tough, but yeah, I'm going to go with the 77. And it seems like we've got a third here in the booth. Rajah, awesome to have you here. I think you're going to be sitting in with us for the rest of the race. You got a pick that you want to throw out there?
I'm looking at. Currently, I've got the live broadcast here. I'm looking at Steven Wilson. He's got a clean race truck. Vicente Salas with a clean race truck. He's in 13th. I think a dark horse here will be Lucas Montresor in that 06 Chevrolet. But we'll see. It's just a matter of who's got the cleanest truck. James Thurston as well in the 17. Anyway, we're going green.
Indeed we are. Schaefer's going to lead them back to that start-finish line, and it is now 7 laps to go. I think that you're just trying to get in the good graces of Lucas picking him there, Rajah.
Oh, for sure, especially since I spun him out in that first race. But I think the goal is here, considering the handling that is affecting these trucks with how hot the conditions are at this track. It's interesting. You can't be super close in the corners. You see everybody wiggling and stuff in traffic like you see the 28. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Look at Steven in that 77 running in 4th right now.
Oh, there. You know, I'm going to jump in here because you mentioned the heat and, 120-degree track temperature, but it's got to feel nice sitting in the sim rig versus the actual race car.
Dude, I have a drink here. Like, this is sick. Look at that 7745 two-truck tango, a thrandom, if you will, with James Thurston pushing on the top.
Indeed, that's Wilson up at the front, and Joey was saying it's hard to discount him, but Schaefer's going to cut him off. He'll take the top spot there and force him to give him a shove. Now down to 5 laps to go. Time is running out, and with 3 lines, Joey, it is hard to pick where to be.
Yeah, and you saw Steven Wilson try to be loyal to Chente Salas, and now he's going to go all the way down low there, try to block the run from the bottom side, a little bit of door-to-door contact, but you see Steven Wilson now firmly in front of this field.
Oh, it is getting wild out there, and again, Wilson is moving every which way to try to cover him off. Rajah, I feel like he's got to be careful.
Oh, man. There goes a couple of them.
Schaefer up against the wall.
Yeah, now that the field is kind of stretched out a little bit here, it's going to just have less energy. So as the leader, you've got to protect the line with the most numbers. And the top's going to be surging as Steven will probably try to grab them off the corner here. Right there, yeah, you just got to grab the lane that has the most energy because that's going to give yourself the best chance of making it to the end.
And much fewer players, so this will be a lot less complicated, Joey.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a little bit easier for Steven Wilson, but I say easy and super speedway and winning a race, that does not go hand in hand, but he is doing an excellent job, like Rajah said, just picking the lane that has the most amount of energy, and right now it is down low. The 21 just got hip checked up into the wall, so there goes Lars Jenneworth. All Steven has to do now is really focus on that 03 directly behind him.
Oh, it's second. Yeah, a few more trucks. That looks like up and into the wall. I think Bolton, Hankins involved in that, Lawrence as well. Wilson is still our leader as we hold on to that lead group. Vining runs in second. It's Bailey in third, but for how long? Because Thurston is hooked up with him. Looks like a switch of lanes from the 77, Joey.
And remember, James Thurston in that black and green number 17, he was your pole sitter for this race. He ran up front in Charlotte before having some contact late in the race that really took him out. He could be the dark horse here, but 1 lap to go. Can Steven Wilson hang on?
Couple more trucks now falling by the wayside. Rajah, what position do they need to be in?
Oh my gosh, I was looking at the 08. He's first in line on the top, but now with everybody getting mixed up, it's going to be James Thurston's race to lose there in second as if he can get clear Steven right here to make a move. There he goes.
Down around 3 and 4. Vining's got the lead, but Thurston could have a push. He's got the high side. They come to the line. It's going to be a spin across. Who comes away with the win? It is going to be Vining sideways to take victory by 7 thousandths of a second. It is a classic super speedway finish here at Atlanta.
You know, I think that Casey Kerwin earned the cool points earlier for driving down pit road backwards, but what is cooler than winning a race backwards? Hands off to the 03.
Oh, just incredible stuff. Looks like he's going to try and bring it around to give us a good spin at the finish, but maybe have to limp his way home. That has got to just get your heart absolutely beating, Rajah.
Yeah, it's crazy finish for sure. Shout out to John Vining for getting the dub there. I thought it was going to be James there once he got to not only get Stevens' push behind him, but also to the right rear of John. I thought that was going to be the race-winning move, but everybody kind of fanned out on the front stretch and lost their pushers, and the shortest distance won with John, even though he got turned to the bottom. So let's see his burnout skills for sure. But great finish, and thank you to everybody that participated in this event.
Indeed, victory lane for the 03 as he does burn it down, but we're not getting pictures of it right now. But still, he is going to be enjoying himself. Vining is going to be our winner as James Thurston will finish P2. Stephen Wilson, P3, and Lars Chenoweth in 4th. Keith Fonseca, P5. Zane Bailey in 6th, and Watkins, P7. Gill in 8th. Montresor comes home 9th, and Carpenter, Joey, will get a top 10.
Yeah, and then Hankins back here in 11th with Mason Brinks in 13th spot. I think the 12th place car kind of dropped out right there, and then David Bolton in 14th, Miles Davis 15th, Sobilo 16th, Lawrence finishing back here along with Moraes, Bowman, Salas, and Schaefer all in the top 20.
And then Ratan is going to be 21st. Kerwin, Caruth, Slagan, Boland, Nyland, Coonan, Lambrecht, and Ramon round out the field, all winding up in trouble here today. I think it looks like we're getting ready to try and talk to our winner. Let's see if we get him ready in a moment. In the meantime, we're trying to get him mic'd up. In the meantime, let's take a look at who all helped make this happen. 25 Urban Youth Racing School. You've got McWayne Science Center. You've got DC Public Library Foundation. Ludacris Foundation also helped bring this about, along with the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Charlotte. And of course, we've got Microsoft, as well as the Ripken Foundation Center, Rivier City, Orleans, and then at STEM NOLA. The Marion Foundation, of course, along with Harris-Stowe State University, Worldwide Technology, the Community Foundation, GM Motorsports, RCX Sports Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Richmond, the New York City College of Technology, City Tech, St. Louis Science Center as well helped put this show on today. And Rajah, well, do you have your looking at maybe, once you're done with your racing? Oh, excuse me. It looks like we've lost Rajah. I was going to say, Joey, maybe he could take your path going from racing to the microphone at some point as you've got the winner.
Yeah, it's always nice to transition up into the broadcast booth, be able to commentate on everybody else. But this is our winner, John Vining. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Thank you, and shout out to Rajah for putting this deal on. This was pretty fun. This is sick. Good time.
So I have to ask you, was it your plan from the get-go, the initial green flag, to win backwards?
At the start we were lagging back. We thought, with the call, we didn't think the race was exciting enough, so we were trying to add some excitement at the end, get that sideways deal for the good slow-mos for the iRacing highlights. I think we pulled that off well with some help from everyone else, so hopefully we did.
And I mean, talk about a drive. You started way back there in 23rd position, so one of our biggest movers throughout the day. And lots of yellow flags here at Atlanta. I'm sure that there was a lot of moments for you, too.
Oh yeah, being in the back for a while from our stellar qualifying performance, putting more downforce into it, setting up for handling. We got to witness most of the accidents and went from the wall at start finish to my spotter yelling at me to go low, so I'm running through the infield all the way through 1 and 2 with Rajah, which is quite entertaining, but it was a good time. It was a lot of fun.
And I'm really happy that you won this event. I'm being fed some information here. You're the data analytics engineer over there for 2311 Racing. So obviously you've had a lot of STEM education kind of growing up, and what a perfect event to come and race for you.
Yeah, not only that, but also through 2311 and some friends there. We also somewhat know Rajah a little bit. It's been cool seeing him at the track and watching him grow, watching him have success going down his path. And as well for me, being a part of this from the STEM background, like you said, is also pretty cool to help raise awareness for this and hopefully give people more insight and opportunity into everything that's going on in this world.
Well, you put on one heck of a show. Go celebrate that win tonight.
10-4 will do. Thanks, guys.
That was John Vining driving that 03. And I think we're going to be joined by James Thurston next. First of all, James, good to see you here in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on second.
Yeah, hey, Joey. I can't believe I'm up here in this one.
Yeah, a little bit of bad luck back there in Charlotte, but it seemed like you had a little bit of a cleaner run here at Atlanta.
Yeah, man. I mean, we had plenty of pace there at Charlotte, but, can't do much when you get spun. Dude, here, I didn't think I even won. I thought I got second. It told me I was 7,000 slower, and I looked at the replay and I was like, hold on. Oh, I think I might be a little bit ahead of him.
No, it was a heck of a finish out there. Rajah was actually calling that you were going to win the race. You got to that outside quarter panel, but just kind of the momentum stalled out for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that it's honestly pretty funny. That's like the same move I pulled in your league that I ran in to win that race in there. So, I think that move, it just worked so good off of turn 4 here, man. I can't even believe that I won a race broadcasted by iRacing. I don't even know what to say right now.
Well, James, I just want to say that, first of all, you're trying to make your way into real-world racing. You and I have talked about that before. So I think that this is a great event for you to come out here, show your face, perform well, and congratulations on that second place.
Well, I know they said second. I think it might have been a P1.
Is it? I mean, I see .007 here on the results.
If you look at the start line, hold on. Forgive me for my camera.
It might be up for consideration. At least everything I got here is John Vining winning this one. But, James, I'm going to let you go. Congrats on the podium here. And then it looks like we've got one more. Lars Chenoweth is joining us here. Lars, congrats on finishing here at Atlanta.
Thank you.
So, what did you think of tonight's event as a whole?
It was, the Charlotte race was fine. That Atlanta race was kind of like chaos. And went from the back and then back to the front, I think 3 separate times. And it was fun. They're just interesting.
And then kind of what did you think about the truck and car combinations? Because Charlotte, totally different than how the super speedway races here at Atlanta.
I like Atlanta. I'm just a really big fan of New Atlanta. And Charlotte, it was it was kind of hard to pass at Charlotte.
Well, I just want to say thank you for coming out and congrats on a great finish here at Atlanta.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up our post-race interviews here, Joe Peak. I've been happy to call this one with you over here.
It was a joy to get to join in on this one, and definitely love to see the racing that we saw out on track, and also get to see so many drivers get to ask some questions of Rajah and find out a little bit more about him, as well as enjoy his company out on the track. So honestly, I think we couldn't have asked for more. It was a crazy finish in the second race. It was incredible racing in the first race, Joey. The first thing that you want in racing is a show.
Well, we definitely got it here, and I mean, what a better way to celebrate STEM education. And I just want to kind of reinforce that you can go out there and get involved with real-world race teams. Car setup, right? It's math. You got ride heights. You got shock clicks out there. You got aerodynamics in the science department. There's a lot going on with just the aero platforms on these cars. And then, of course, the engineering side, all of that behind the scenes that happens at the shops, all of the work that's done on the cars and trucks before they actually go to the racetrack. So STEM education, always incredibly important in today's world, and especially in racing.
Well, again, thank you for being with me. Thanks to all the viewers. But Evan, I'm glad that we got to join you as well.
It was a fun time. I appreciate you guys keeping things exciting for us in the broadcast booth, and we'll bring Rajah back in one more time, maybe coming soon to a drivers-only broadcast. I don't know. You seem to be enjoying the booth there at the end, but you got to be obviously such a big part of this event by leading and creating this program, Racing with Rajah, to putting this event here on tonight, to being in the field, to a little bit of bonus commentary at the end. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, again, what was a great event here tonight that I think you'll be able to echo as well. Hopefully can continue long into the future.
Yeah, Evan, I just honestly want to take this time to say thank you to Microsoft, iRacing, the iRacing esports network, Team Chevy, and everybody that kind of had a role in putting this thing together from jump. I think it's got a great potential to build not only as a little community here on the sim, but grow this curriculum to be in place in school systems across the country and hopefully world, just to, at the end of the day, expose people to racing. It's a unifying sport and industry, and hopefully everybody can continue to see that.
If somebody joining us on this show is a student or a teacher, and maybe this is the first time they've heard of the curriculum, if they want to learn more, if they want to get involved, where should they go to do so?
You should just scan that QR code right there on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. You've got everything you need to find about this curriculum, and whether it can get in your classroom or get you on a field trip, whether to the GM Technical Center here in Concord, North Carolina, to maybe Spire Motorsports in Warrensville, or the NASCAR Hall of Fame in downtown Charlotte, or come to the racetrack and see us. So scan that QR code to learn more.
We appreciate you giving us your time and appreciate you being such a driving force of all of this, Rajah. Thanks so much and best of luck. We'll be watching you for this racing season for sure.
Thank you, Evan, and good luck everybody in the Coke Series going, I believe next week is the next race.
They're coming May 20th, so they got a couple weeks off to...
Oh, they're off.
Yeah,
Must
the
be
summer
nice.
break, we'll call it, right? They'll be back in action here on the iRacing Esports Network, and hopefully we'll have another one of these STEM Invitationals coming up. So that was Rajah Caruth, and again, one more reminder for how STEM leads to speed. Racing with Rajah, the virtual program for students aged 12 to 15 that offers an immersive look into motorsports, courtesy of our partners with Microsoft and GM Motorsports. Until then, though, that is it for us here tonight, both in Charlotte and in Atlanta. I want to thank all of you for joining us and being a part of this, and another big thank you to all of our presenting sponsors for making tonight's coverage possible. For Rajah Caruth, for Joe Peak, Joey Atterbury, and myself, Evan Pasocco, say thanks for tuning in. Remember, scan the QR code bottom right corner of your screen, or go to learn.microsoft.com for more information. We'll see you next time here on iRacing.